Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the third quarter-final match. This one between England and Fiji. Two sides who have already gone head-to-head throughout 2023. They now find themselves rematching in a very important game. Whoever wins this goes on to face the winner of South Africa versus France. And that game is kicking off in 5 hours' time. Currently looking through at the way that the table's sat on this side of the draw. Fiji sitting on those 11 points, just narrowly going past the Australians. Now, that was down to the head-to-head and the brilliant performance Fiji put in their game up against the Wallabies. For England, they are sitting 4 from 4, and the trend has been so far throughout this Rugby World Cup, undefeated Northern Hemisphere side taking on Southern Hemisphere underdog. And in the last two games, we have seen the Southern Hemisphere underdog actually walk away with the victory. Argentina and New Zealand both making their way through to the semi-finals, so that is one side of the draw confirmed. Now this other one, like I mentioned, the winner of this game taking on the winner of France versus South Africa. But looking at the teams and the way that they stack up for England, they've gone with a little bit of a similar lineup to what they did have in their game last week up against the Samoans, with just a little bit of a reshuffle. And the backline, Alice Genge at number 1, Jamie George at 2, and Dan Cole slotting in at tight head prop once more. Maro Itoje at number 4, a very handy man to have when it comes to lineouts. And also at number 5, they've got Ollie Chisholm, the man who scored the first try of the contest up against Samoa last week. Courtney Laws at number 6, Tom Curry number 7. He's actually the first player in a Rugby World Cup game to get himself a red card, and that was where the controversy kind of started, because it wasn't that bad, but he did end up with the suspension for 2 weeks. He is back now and raring to go once again for another quarter-final match. Ben Earl, he is there at number 8. I feel like he is definitely the morale boost in this English pack, but he's a workhorse as well. Should be a very awesome player to watch in this contest. Alex Mitchell at 9 with Owen Farrell at number 10. That was probably the interesting choice, I would say, of this backline for the English. The fact that Owen Farrell gets that start at 10 rather than the informed George Ford. So perhaps looking to have Ford with that bit more impact coming off the bench. Manu Tuolangi and Joe Marchand return into the midfield combo. Now Tuolangi, he is a crash ball specialist. He'll be going head-to-head with Joshua Tuisova in this game, so that will certainly be must-see. And Marchand on the outside with a huge amount of pace. He's going head-to-head with Waisia, Nayata Levu, Elliot Daly and Johnny May out on the 2 wings, so a lot of experience in that department. And then Marcus Smith at number 15 close out this English pack. And it's interesting because Marcus Smith, he's had 1 game at 15 throughout this Rugby World Cup. It was up against Chile. He did very well in that contest, but this game up against Fiji, I just feel like there's going to be a lot more pressure on, a lot more defensive work to be done by Marcus Smith with the Fijians in the way they're able to attack. I've almost forgotten how to talk. We had 2 very intense games yesterday. My brain is running a little bit slower, but we'll get in there as we get closer to the kickoff of this one. Roni Maui at number 1. Tavera Ikanaveri comes in at number 2 for the Fijians rather than Sam Matavesi, who will now find himself coming off the bench. And Luke Tangi is there as the number 3. Is Soana Silasila at 4, so he keeps his spot in the locking duo. But at number 5, Albert Tuisui, he has come off the bench the last couple of weeks, but due to the injury that we did see of Timo Maia-Navanua, as well as the injury of Te Ahuaru Threkanavita, it means that Albert Tuisui does make his way into the starting lineup. Lakema Tangivalu back at 6, was rested for the last game, and Deria Langi to come in to the starting side. Lavani Botia at number 7, an absolute game changer for the Fijians. When he came off the bench of the game up against Wales, he looked phenomenal. When he started up against Australia, he's been very solid, and I believe Lavani Botia could be the game-changing player for Fiji in this match that possibly, if it is close, could be the difference between a win and a loss. And Viliami Mata always going to run the ball hard at the defensive line, going head-to-head, like I mentioned, with Ben Earl in this matchup, so an intriguing head-to-head right there. Frank Lamani at number 9 and Vilimoni Botitu will start at 10, so actually going with the same combo as the Fijians did have in their last game when they were defeated by the Portuguese. They feel that that is still the best combo that they could put out onto the field. So I should mention no Tite Tela whatsoever in this Fijian side for this quarterfinal. Joshua Tuisova in the midfield alongside Waisia Naiatalevu, Radradra out on the left wing, Vinaya Habosi shifts from the left wing to the right wing, and Eliza Druasisi comes back in after being rested in the last contest, having over 100 metres carried in the last game. That he did play, but we have got a whole heap of chat already, so we will try our best to read absolutely all of it. We have got there, Morning Kiwi Lads gets to go, Sears Blues Nate, and also whoever turns up will win. Neither team looked on form in their previous game, says Ars Robinson. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because one of these sides won by 1 point in their last contest, and then the other side were defeated by 1 point. So the fact that both sides have had such narrow either wins or losses last week means that there is a chance that we either see one side righting those wrongs and all of a sudden being an absolute beast in this game, or it could be relatively close, just like their games were last week. I have to go, says Kim. That was very early, Kim, but hopefully you do enjoy the rest of your day. We have got England are clearly the underdog here, but unlike the other narratives, they are losing being the underdog, says JP. I mean, England come in as favourites, though, for this contest. They're undefeated in this Rugby World Cup up till date. Fiji coming off a loss to Portugal, which was Portugal's first ever win in the Rugby World Cup. So I don't see in any way how England can be underdogs coming into this contest. In fact, Fiji are the largest underdog in the weekend of quarterfinals rugby, because Wales was second largest, Argentina was second largest, but they actually still managed to get themselves the win. Are you well rested after last night's excitement? Are you going to lose your tie again, says Denzel? Hopefully not. Hopefully the tie stays intact, but if the game goes down to the wire like it did last night, we might need some oxygen, because that one was a little bit of a close call. I think England will beat Fiji, but only because I think they will have done their homework. I want Fiji to win, though, says Mike. And also European officials are racist for sure, says Luavalu. I don't know about that. I feel like, yes, we've seen some interesting refereeing in this Rugby World Cup, but I don't think racism comes into it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it's more of the case of, you know, if referees do have their favoured teams, that's not ideal, but it can happen. But I don't think it would be down to, hey, I'm going to look at what you look like, and that's why I'm going to give a penalty or not going to give a penalty, because when you look through at the adversity or just the, I guess, demographic of the whole rugby world, there are so many people from all walks of life that it would make it very hard to look through any team and not see some sort of representation of a certain nation, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I feel like the referees, they get a hard enough job as it is without being accused of that kind of thing alongside it. What time is kickoff? It is around 50 minutes away. So we are a little bit early, but we've got a lot to look through it. We've got CCC in the chat, but can't wait. And also, well, I chose sleepover watching the ABs take on Ireland, says Chronic. And also, okay, says Desmond, and surely this game is already planned to be one-sided. I hope Fiji wins, says Luavalu. And also, I'm not even going to make a prediction for France versus Springboks, but think quietly the Springboks will take it. Not sure if that's because I'm a Boks supporter, says Mike. That's interesting, because I know the Springboks come in as underdogs, but I disagree with how much of an underdog the Fijians, the Springboks come in at, because they're about $2.25 underdogs, or $2.10 or something, which is crazy, because at the end of the day, they're the world champs, and they have been playing some very good rugby, and Fiji meant to give the English boys a hiding, says Mesh. And after South Africa versus France, we know the final matchup, says JP. And hey, Hamish, hope you're fitting well, says Stuart and Moore. I guess I'm one almost of those two things, which is decent. Box versus France prediction, says GM or JM. So in my original lineup, or in my original preview, I believe I predicted the Springboks to win it by about 6 points, somewhere around there. Big love to our Irish farmhouse, and we have got there as well. I see South Africa versus Fiji coming up. Tell you what, that is a game that we don't get to see too often, but I don't think many people would be mad about getting to see. The other chance, of course, if South Africa make their way through, would be a rematch of the Rugby World Cup final from 2019 with England taking on South Africa, and Fiji to win by 24, says JP. And also, you're going to watch South Africa versus France, says Useless Channel. We are indeed. We are going to be doing the commentary for that matchup. So anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. You got lucky New Zealand. I'd bang them all out, says Liam McCarthy. But I think one thing that everyone can agree on is what a game of rugby For a quarter final to go down to the wire like that, to have 30 phases back to back to back near the end of the game, and then to have someone like a Sam Whitelock with 151 caps for the All Blacks have to be the player who gets over the ball, because without him doing that, I believe Ireland, 2 or 3 more phases, perhaps that line break was coming. And I feel like New Zealand knew that, so they had to get the turnover then and there. But what a game to see for the quarterfinals. Hopefully, one of the 2 games today is as close as that, and then we will certainly be spoiled for choice. And what a win, nobody beating the All Blacks this year, says Jack. And also we have got the all countries from the Southern Hemisphere in the semi-finals, and beating margins for England are notoriously inaccurate. And the direction of England, there's a lot of hopeful money there, says Gus. And so tired of this thing. It's a sad case of the world. South Africa, Cape Town, go Fiji. Says Goldberg, I lost my Wi-Fi last night. 23 England, 23 Fiji, 29 England. A nerve shot for South Africa France game, says Bernard. Well, the good news is it is less than 5 hours away from kickoff. You pulling off your tie last night was epic, says Judy. So we did end up uploading that as a separate little clip. Now, I did wait about 12 hours, which was probably a mistake in terms of when I should have put it up. But yeah, it was a very interesting final few moments. And even the first opening spell of that game with about 5 minutes back to back to back. Hamish, if you think you're such a hard New Zealand haka man, why don't you go to Israel and help them? Says Liam. I feel like that's got nothing to do with what we were talking about, Liam. I just said that New Zealand played well. I said Irish played well. And now you're bringing up what's going on, and devastating what is going on over there, by the way. But yeah, it seems like a very weird transition from saying Ireland needed 2 more phases to, hey, Hamish, you should jump on a plane and go fight in a war. It doesn't make sense, Liam. I feel like you're kind of, what's it called? Not ranting, but you're kind of projecting at the moment, perhaps. We have got the, hey, Hamish, good to see you again. Chatted us a little slower today, says Dylan, although I'm sure by the time we get to kick off, it will start speeding up again. This is a massive game between these 2 sides. And also, why so pissed it's only against, says Peter Wild. And also, good morning, Hamish Morena. And apparently you get statistically less likely to score the more phases you go through, says Lord Inquisitor. Is that because normally we see a handling error or something, though, before they get to the try line, if that makes sense? Because normally when the team gets up to 10 phases, it's normally that very next phase or so that they start to put the ball down. To Ireland's credit, for that last little while, they just didn't drop the ball. Like, there were a couple juggles, but it went backwards, and they were able to just keep on going and going and going. Last night's game should have been the final, says Gus. And also, maybe this time around, Hamish will strip for the ladies, says Kurt. And also, we have got there, hi, Hamish. While I watch the England vs Fiji game, go Fiji. I'm really hoping for a win for the Springboks, go the Box, says Joss Pike. And they're venting, that's the one. I loved it, Hamish, when you loosen your tie, says Stull. And people are taking the game too seriously. Totally depends on which way the funny ball bounces, says Janet. Well, that's the thing. Rugby is such an unpredictable game. And you can never know what's going to happen. Like Argentina to win by 12. I don't think many people were predicting them to win by that margin, because it did look like it was going right down to the wire up until the closing moments of that game as well. I had a bet on Ireland to win. I would have won lots of money. And you cocky, cheating, lucky New Zealand country ruined my night, says Liam. Well, that is why you don't gamble. It's plain and simple. Without money on the game, you'll find it a lot more enjoyable. Trust me, I've talked to a lot of people in the chat who have said as soon as they gave up the gambling side of things, they enjoyed rugby like 10 times, if not even 100 times more, because they don't have to worry about that kind of feeling of, oh, I've just made a wrong decision, or should I cash out? Should I keep the money on? If you don't have money on the game, it's a lot more fun to watch. I can highly recommend, once you get over that loss of your money, watch that game back and you will thoroughly enjoy it. I can guarantee you that. But looking through at the benches for these 2 sides, for the English, Theo Dan, Joe Marler and Kyle Sinclair will be the front row replacements. So a lot of experience there in Marler and Sinclair, but not so much for Theo Dan, although does look like a young prospect for this English squad. For the future, George Martin. He has had number 19 with Billy Vunipola, once again, another veteran in the side. And number 20, Danny Carrot, 21, George Ford, 22, and Ollie Lawrence as the number 23. So I think George Ford is going to be absolutely crucial for the English in the later stages of this fixture. For the Fijians, Sam Matavesi at number 16. We did hear the news during the week that his father did pass away, so condolences, of course, to him. And he'll be looking to have a real impact coming off the bench in this contest. Penny Ravai and number 17, and Masaki Donge as the number 18, a man who has already scored 2 tries throughout his Rugby World Cup campaign. Meri Langi and number 19 with Valeve Miramira at 20. So 2 men who have worked together in the Fiji and Drua loose forward trio throughout the Super Rugby Pacific season. Now that is mainly due to those injuries, like I mentioned, of Timo Mainavanua, which did mean that they brought in Ratanai Arawa, but they have decided instead of using him to go with Langi and Miramira, and Langi will offer that little bit of locking cover for the later stages. Simeone Kuravuli, he could be a game changer. I mentioned how Frank Lamani is an impact player when he comes off the bench, but Kuravuli could also be just that, or Sifo Masi at number 22, so opting not to go with the replacement fly half here. That is because of Frank Lamani and Kuravuli's ability of drifting just that little bit wider than halfback if needed. And Soreli Mangwala at number 23, man who had almost 200 running meters last week. He did almost score the try up against the Portuguese as well, but just needs to make sure he's making the right decisions in this contest to help his side get towards the try line. But looking through now at the chat once more, we have got there really interesting to look at the chat from an Englishman's perspective. It's all a bit Southern Hemisphere biased, which is fine. However, really the Southern Hemisphere is far better than, or when the Northern Hemisphere is strong, says Akaris. I think that's what's made the last 12 months, or maybe even to a certain extent 24 months of rugby so entertaining, is the fact that the North and the South have had that rivalry of you just don't know what way the games are going to go. Like the fact that Ireland, New Zealand was only split by 4 points, Wales, Argentina, that could have gone either way. England, Fiji, there's a lot of awesome matchups that have taken place. France versus South Africa, the world champions, I should say, versus the host nations. It's going to be awesome. And how did New Zealand cheat? They seemed against them most of the game. I just saw loser mate, says Jack, and because the defence are so organised these days, says Lord Inquisitor. And also you're wearing some nice dress pants, that nice looking tie. Says, mate, you're kidding? Or he hopes that I am. I am wearing some track pants, to be honest. They're just plain old pants. I always go comfort down below and then business on the top half. We've got a great game last night. Happy for the ABC for Ireland. Someone had to win. Just shows how experience comes through. South Africa, Cape Town, go Fiji, says Goldberg. And I mentioned it on that live stream as well. I know this doesn't make people feel any better, theoretically, but if Ireland matched up, I would say with 75% of the other sides in the quarterfinals, they would have won. And I feel like they were a side that unfortunately just didn't get the luck of the draw. But then saying that, because New Zealand finished second in the group rather than it being Ireland versus France, it was Ireland versus New Zealand, so it was always going to be a tough game. But they went out there, they played with heart, they played with a lot of spirit. And at the end of the day, like people who say the Irish got humiliated, like that wasn't the case. Like that game could have gone either way. Ireland, if they had scored in the last moment, they would have gone through to the semi-finals. Fascinated about your knowledge and your commentary. You are fabulous. Hollywood will be after you soon, says Judy. Use sports as an escape and people are out there betting. That's crazy. Says Chronic, and good evening, brother Hamish. Says Flanders, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. I want Fiji to win all day, but England is going to win, says Jordan. And bloody hell, Hamish, the diplomat, run for president of Rugby International, says Peter Wild. And also, are there odds on Farrell getting a card? I know there's odds on overall someone getting a red card in this game. Only about $4, which it used to be about, I think it was like $10 at one point. And then World Rugby realised how easy it is for people to get cards, and they decided they had to try and get rid of it and cut those ones down a little bit more. We have got there, if you're reading these, how do you rate each team's chances yourself? Says Jordan. Honestly, I feel like it's definitely going to depend on what Fiji and side show up in the first 20 minutes, because England's structure, I believe, will help them hugely in this game. But that is something that Fiji were able to use to their advantage the last time these two sides went head-to-head. It was that unstructured, almost unpredictability from Fiji that helped break down the English defence. With the fact that they've got Marcus Smith at 15 as well, I'm curious to see how the Fijians look to try and either exploit or attack that option for them. This is Guys Rugby knowledge is insane. Says, mate, you're kidding. And the New Zealand team deserved the win and felt for the Ireland team. A great sporting game. Well done, Ireland, says Bernard. In there as well. And I gambled and won loads, says Kurt. Well, you were the lucky one, Kurt. in that case. I think you had 2 wins from 2, didn't you? And there's no way England is going to win. These people, man, I just have my kidney. I still have my kidney by betting on New Zealand yesterday. I'll bet my kidney again on a Fiji win. I wonder if he's a winner on bets, says Jordan. And also go, Fiji, says the girl YouTube, and think the cup should be hoisted by Rassi and the coaching team. Fiji take the win, says Goldberg. And there as well, and that's a wardrobe mullet, Hamish, says Dylan. Yeah, so business in the front, party in the back, innit? And here's a deal. Tell where you live and we'll have a one-on-one scrap. And if I knock you out, which I will, I get my money back and you have to pay me, says Liam. Well, here's an idea. Don't gamble. And then you'll still have your money and you won't have to worry about fighting anyone. Fun fact, you don't have to gamble. I feel like that's like a betting campaign, isn't it? Poor Liam. Shouldn't have put his money on anyone. We have got there, maybe New Zealand disrespected the island fans by singing or interrupting their singing. Says Yvonne, wait, New Zealand or the other way around? Because I know the Irish fans were singing during the haka, but I don't know whether or not that is what you were referring to, maybe during the national anthem as well. It's going to be almost a try for Sale Sharks. I've got the Gallagher Premiership on in the corner, ladies and gents. We have got their Magic Mike it, bro, says Nazi Williams. And let's go Fiji, says Georgie there. And do you think we lose next week, says the girl YouTube? Is that New Zealand? Or who's, yeah, maybe New Zealand. I mean, their game up against Argentina will be a good contest. And I feel like from the Rugby Championship, we know that if Argentina really put their mind to it, they can be contenders up against the Kiwis. And I feel like that's exactly what everyone wants to see. I see our winner on bets, says Jordan. No, I don't gamble because I wouldn't be able to handle the stress. And so, yeah, I just don't bet on anything. And I'm terrible at predictions as well. And I know I'm bad at predictions. So to then try and gamble that, it's like a double gamble. You think the Irish singing disrespect to the haka, says Toby? Well, not so much. Like, I don't think people found it disrespectful. I think it just added to the atmosphere, didn't it? In terms of both sides showing they've got a voice, they've got a fan base, and the fact that they wanted to try and go out there and just put on a massive showing. We have got the RIP Island, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi, and I agree with you on the Island All Black game. It was the best game so far. If that try was not held up by the All Blacks, Ireland could have won. Who knows? It was that close, says Mike. Yeah, so I feel like no side should be, like, yes, there'll be disappointment, but they shouldn't be at all ashamed of what happened. There's no disrespect from the Irish regarding the chanting. Says, mate, you're kidding. And also, I think you had 10.7k viewers at one point last night. Let's see if the stream trumps that in tonight. Says bystander there. I'm literally laughing at the fact you lost money. Hope you lose more. Keep crying, mate. Says Jack in there. Tell you what, Jack, he'll go to your house and he'll one-on-one fight you now. You've just fired him up. But Sale Sharks winning their game in the Gallagher Premiership. For anyone curious about that contest, I should have mentioned we are 35 minutes away from this game taking place, ladies and gents. But looking through at the previous fixtures for the English throughout their Rugby World Cup campaign, their first game was up against Argentina. They were able to win it 27 points to 10, and they weren't able to score any tries in that game, but it was 3 drop kicks from George Ford alongside 6 penalties that did allow the English to get themselves the victory in their game up against the Japanese. They did win it 34 points to 12, so a little bit more of a comfortable win. They did concede a couple more points in that process, though. Their next game up against Chile, they did win it 71 points to 0, so a good win. That was with Marcus Smith at fullback, which is where he finds himself playing in this game. And then England versus Samoa. That was a very hard game to predict because we knew Samoa had to throw everything into that game as it was their last of the Rugby World Cup. We saw England, even though they were up against it at times in that contest, they still managed to pull through, get themselves the victory by the 1 point. Whereas for the Fijians, in their first game up against the Welsh, they did lose 32 points to 26, but it was those 2 losing bonus points, the one for scoring 4 or more tries and the one for being within 7, which then was the difference for Fiji in terms of making it through to these quarterfinals or missing out, and Australia making their way through. But that game was the important one, winning it up against the Aussies, 22 points to 15. I am just going to quickly sneeze one moment. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Their next game up against the Georgians They were able to win it by the 5 points, having quite a few close fixtures. And in fact, Fiji, they have not had a game yet in this Rugby World Cup that has been split by more than 7 points, win or lose, which would refer to the fact that this game should be close. But of course, we will have to wait and see. We've got the Ireland are not top anymore, ABs says Kerr, it can't be a good stream, or it can't be a good stream without a Hamish sneeze, says Mikhail. And also, hi all, what a thriller yesterday. Your commentary was amazing, says Arthur. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. And tell you what, Hamish, you me in stitches with that last 3 minutes or so, really entertaining. Says Ocker and go Fiji go, says Lagatapua. And there, and I bet a solid amount on Portugal, Georgia tie at 41-1, says Jordan. What's the pattern? Ireland stood and meant to be the eight quarterfinal losses are an infinity sign and infinite quarterfinal losses. I actually heard afterwards, because I wasn't actually sure, but apparently it's the 8-year anniversary of an ex-Irish player passing away, so that's why they did the number 8 for the haka. I know that that's probably a bit more deep than what you were saying, but yeah, it was an 8-year anniversary of a Irish player passing away. I can't remember who it was though, the exact player. Stupid to gamble, only people or idiots do that. Play the lotto, yes, but be cheap. Says, well, they always say with gambling, only bet what you're willing to lose, but people don't do that. They seem to bet what they aren't willing to lose, and then they challenge people to one-on-one fights in their backyard so that they could get their money back, which doesn't quite work, does it? Where will you be after the rugby, says Judy? Well, after the Rugby World Cup, we are going to be doing more of the rugby. We've got the URC that has taken place just around the corner. Alongside that, we have also got the Sevens that we'll be picking up. We've got the Super Rugby and Six Nations early next year, which will fly by because we're already in October, so we will also be covering that on the channel. So we've got plenty more coming up, and also maybe a little bit of cricket alongside it as well. Foley, and also good afternoon, all the best to both sides. You should have showed the last 5 England games, says Mr. Skits. And there, of course, that game beforehand, though, they did have their win over, or sorry, their loss to the Fijians, 30 points to 22. And we will be talking about that game a little bit more as we get closer to the kickoff. We have got Go Fiji, but I think England's going to win. And also, you better, you bet. And it was the player who died, says Yvonne, or Axel Foley, sorry, rather than just Foley. And also the rugby bosses who came up with the early draw must have a combined IQ of 60. That 2 of the top teams are going out in the quarterfinal is sad, says John Netterling. Yeah, it is. And I'm glad to see that they've decided that next time they are going to do the draw a little bit closer to the Rugby World Cup. But I still feel like it definitely, I guess, it hurts because you've got 2 of the top 4 sides, like you mentioned. They will be gone now for the quarterfinals. And I feel like in some regards, depending on the games, we could end up seeing a little bit of a mismatched semi compared to the final, which could be relatively even. All English eyes are on the cricket match at the moment. Says Amir, they were playing, was it Afghanistan that they're playing? Amir, and how are they getting on? At the moment, do let me know. 8 months ago, I bet 2,000 on a repeat of 2011 World Cup final. Going to bank me 70k if it comes in, says Kerr. So 2011, that was New Zealand, France, wasn't it? If I'm not wrong. And how did the rankings work? How did Ireland end up being number 1 in the world? They beat 17 teams in a row. They've been on a massive winning streak. And yeah, other than this loss to the ABs, like they have still had so many great performances in a row. I'd like to take this opportunity to say, if YouTube the ads will drive a man to prison, says 351 Cleveland Modified Motor. That's quite a fun name, isn't it? But shout out to you for being here. I do appreciate it. Morning, mate. Looking forward to a couple of good games that they're playing Afghanistan now in the Cricket World Cup. Says Amir, and yes, the draw date has been pants for decades. Needed changing for a long time. It is a shame it has taken this long, says Akaris. Yeah, it's always annoying when the only reason it's changed is because they've realised how broken the system was. So what, AB still, says the Gur YouTube. So tell me what happened with the tie last night. It seems you couldn't breathe. Are you okay now, says Morning the Great? Yeah, I'm all right. It's just when I was leaning forward, I was almost slightly choking. Well, not choking myself, but just, you know, it felt like it was a little bit too tight around the neck when there was so much blood flowing about. I'm a Kiwi, says 451 Cleveland. And hey, Hamish, what's your favourite brand of dishwashing liquid? I'm normally a bit of a, I think it's a sun something. It's got sun in it anyway. It's yellow. We have got their pity that they chose our best centres yesterday, or they did not choose our best centres yesterday, and a moody natural talent in abundance. Says Stefan, are you one of those people, though, Stefan, who are happy with Marnie Libok in the starting lineup? Or are you someone who would have preferred to see Pollard? And this is the tie, Hamish. Says Nazi, yeah, it's nice and loose today. I've learnt my lesson at this point. There was a great game, Ireland versus the All Blacks. Says Nazi Williams. And also won me 300k in 2011. So worth it again. Although in 2011 I bet multiple factors, including difference of points under 3. I'm gutted. Wales lost yesterday and that tie was all right. It's just that you held your breath for the last 5 minutes of the game. Says just in case. Are you a guy? Says the Gur YouTube. Yes, I am the Gur YouTube. Well, that I know of anyway. I could say something, but I will not. What's your view on it? Says Taffy, what view of the Wales loss yesterday? Yeah, I mean, Wales, they were one of those sides that going into that game up against Argentina, it was always going to be close, but they just didn't seem to have that same momentum that they've had in some of their other fixtures. I feel like that was down to maybe some of Argentina's defence in terms of what they were able to do to stop Wales from creating the chances. That sneeze was too fast for me to be able to hide and mute. But yeah, I think Wales, they'll be another side that, like their group stage, I feel like they went up and above what a lot of people expected from them. So it was just a shame that their World Cup ended so early. A sunrise, sunsilk, might be sunsilk. Maybe do you listen to See the Hamish? I do not know. I do not know what that is. And also Hachu says Nazi Williams thought the ref changed the game. Says Daffy, yeah, it was an interesting one with the change of referee, although both sides didn't seem to like Carl Dixon as the new official. And also, hey mods, did that Liam guy get banned? I'm not sure, to be honest. I had no control if he did. And Labok, absolutely, that's why you need SAs and a Moody as well. Also, Ronak on scrum half. They were giving us massive speed and talent in abundance. Says Stefan, and will the match be live here on your channel? Says Femelo, sadly we can't show match footage or audio due to licensing, but we will be doing the play-by-play all throughout the contest. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll keep you updated with what is happening all throughout the contest. Please, referees and TMOs, judge this battle fairly. Fiji deserve a fair game. Says, mate, you're kidding. I'm about to sneeze again. Sorry, ladies and gents. I think I jinxed it yesterday by saying I didn't sneeze at all. Now I'm catching up on the ones that I missed. Fiji and France to win. There's Marie. Okay, so that will be 3 Southern Hemisphere, 1 Northern Hemisphere sides, if that is the case. And France, they do come in as heavy favourites. Fiji come in as massive underdogs. So you got that nice little mix involved. And there's, oh, dude, I loved you. Says the Gur YouTube, you loved me. That's past tense. What did I do wrong? And bless you, brother. From Israel, says JP, and you can win the lotto. Says Nazi Williams, and also Wales, Fiji. Crazy if England lost to them, says Leslie. And what if it's a New Zealand Fiji final? Tell you what, there'll be some big hits throughout that game, that is for sure. But it's a game that some people probably haven't even anticipated as a possible final. But I feel like it would be kind of cool, to be honest. Dreaming of a Springbok AB's final, says Gavin. That one does seem like the more likely, though, out of New Zealand versus Fiji or New Zealand South Africa. Although we've got to remember France are around the corner, and Argentina, they are no easy beat. New Zealand going up against them in the semi-final, and Box need to play their game tonight and take the momentum away from the French. And I have a feeling highlights of this game could very much be very posted on OnlyFans. Says Kerr. And also Fiji for the win, says Rajan. 300k meat tray. Says Fluffy and Pollard, yes, but the kicking Lebok, always a game changer, watch him, says Bernard. And yeah, we'll be talking all about it in the build-up of their next one in terms of the selections that South Africa have gone with, whether they're the right calls or not. I believe in a majority of the cases it is the right call. Dwayne Vermeulen, number 8, rather than Jasper Visser, I think is another one that some people were a bit 50-50 on, but they've gone with that experience factor in that department. So have you got some tissues on hand? Or you are using your sleeves? So I got some tissues way over there if I do need them, but luckily it's just sneezing, and yeah, she'll be right, hopefully. Meaning real, says the girl YouTube. And also, hey yo, remember when you said the All Blacks would lose, says Jack. who's been your outstanding player of the tourney so far? I mean, there's been some great players for both of these two sides. We will look through at these games. First of all, in terms of who have been standouts, I would say for the English, someone who's been playing extremely well, I'd honestly probably say Ben Earl. He's had a solid competition. Manu Tuolangi has been pretty decent, mainly because normally we see him get injured in the first kind of few games that he plays, whereas he has been able to play consistency rugby all throughout this Rugby World Cup. Courtney Laws has been pretty decent. I feel like for England, they are lacking that guy, though, who is really stepping up to the next level, at least in the starting lineup. Off their bench, I'd say George Ford. Brilliant player, and he has been almost just carrying the English side in terms of the way that their backline has functioned. And then Borthwick decided to get rid of him in this contest. So it will be interesting to see how England go later on in the game rather than early on when they have got Farrell at number 10, who, to be honest, has been slowly finding his stride again, but I still don't think he's quite where George Ford is currently. For the Fijians in their starting lineup, players to watch out for who are in great form. First of all, Lavani Botia and number 7. He has been pretty impressive throughout this Rugby World Cup, getting a lot of turnovers, making a huge amount of tackles along the way. As well, I see a night at the level after a bit of a rough game up against the Portuguese, in which he did have 3 handling errors. He'll be looking for redemption here, and with some of those men in his backline alongside him, Eliza Druasisi, they should have some sort of success. But Druasisi has been solid under the high ball. He'll have an interesting battle with Marcus Smith playing the 15 role, because I feel like Marcus Smith, he is used to doing that kicking from being the fly half side of things. It's a tricky one, because Druasisi, he can't fall into the trap that England will try and set, and that is to try and play a little bit of the kicking territory game early on in this game. If they are able to stop that and run the ball, get those offloads away, they had 7 in their game up against the Portuguese. I'll be looking to do very well here. Come on, English, says Mano. And also my heart is with Fiji, but my head with England. Gee, so hard to call, says Brandon. And yeah, I think everyone is in agreement that first 20 minutes is going to be the big deciding factor, because we're either going to see the English go big time, running forward, trying to be aggressive, which is actually what I thought Wales would do up against the Argentines, but they weren't quite able to replicate that. Hello, mate. Says Go Travel. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well. And also everyone counts New Zealand as in the final already, says Jordan. Yeah, they cannot underestimate what Argentina can do in that semi-final, because Los Pumas have proven it before. They have beaten New Zealand. In New Zealand as well. Well, yeah, they have in New Zealand and Australia over the last couple of years. And also seeing as the All Blacks basically had rested players and easy matches all World Cup till last night, I think it will be a New Zealand final. Says the light bearer, and you're wearing a suit and a tie today. So you went to church for the All Blacks. Well done, Brew. Says Charles, and I think New Zealand had the greatest game so far in the whole tourney, says Thai Lifestyle. I'll be honest, I think that was the best performance from New Zealand and the best performance from Ireland throughout their Rugby World Cup campaign. And I know that sounds weird to say, seeing as Ireland were defeated in that. Their game up against the Springboks, of course, a lot of people would credit as maybe the stronger of the two, but just in the way that Ireland were able to defend just out from their line, also being able to put together so many phases was just incredibly impressive. And like I said at the start of that game, like I said at the end, and like I'm saying now, that game could have gone either way. Come on, England, says Mano. And England always cooking in football and always lose. Again, Mean Dom, says Jordan. And also Fiji, I hope Fiji crushes England today, says Ty. And there as well. Yeah, it'll be interesting, because Fiji, they will know that they need to start this match quick. Can we get a prediction for Fiji and England? I've switched a little bit in terms of who I think will win this game, because I thought that we're going to see an underdog victory, but then I've also thought that England's structure might help them over the line. So to be honest, I'm still thinking England by a very narrow margin. But if Fiji turn up and really play their hearts out, like they have got the potential of repeating what they did in the Rugby World Cup warm-up games, and that is getting themselves a victory over the English. That was the first time ever that they had beaten England, and now they want to do it twice in a calendar year. That is unheard of, but the current landscape of rugby is it's unpredictable. You don't know who's going to win a game till the final whistle. You're dreaming, says the girl YouTube. And also, they need to play perfect. They can't afford to make mistakes like we did so far with New Zealand. Says Mikhail, until he's over to score first in his minutes, in this match. says Dylan there. Do you have pants on, says Mr. Muller? I do today, yes. Keyword today. I have not been following the England-Fiji comments, so I think England should take this, says Stefan. And also, which city is this match in? So this game is going to be taking place in Marseille. So the same location as the game took place between Argentina and Fiji. Argentina and Wales. One moment, I'm going to sneeze again. This is very annoying. We are better. Hay fever is kicking me in the head today. Which is the best way to describe it. How long to the start of the game? Says Josh, 20 minutes is all we've got until the start of this entertaining fixture between the two sides. So England, they will be excited for this challenge. They are sitting undefeated in the Rugby World Cup. And here's a fact. If they advance from this game up against the Fijians, there is a chance that England could be the only undefeated side heading into the semi-finals, depending on the result of France versus South Africa. We have got the hour long for kickoff, so 20 minutes still. Do you know what you're allergic to? I think just pollen, to be honest. And also, we have got how long till kickoff, so yeah, just under that 20-minute mark for the two sides. They won't be too far from making their way onto the field for the national anthems. Fiji play to their strengths, their support and running game. They are lethal on any given day. Don't count them out, says Paul. Exactly right. They cannot be underestimated for this game. And I feel like England will know that. That is why they would have taken every precaution that they needed to. They would have trained extremely hard throughout this week and trying to find a way of breaking down this Fijian side, because that's the thing. Over the last two games for Fiji, having that close game up against the Georgians and also having that loss to Portugal, I feel like England's got a lot of footage to base their tactics off, but I feel like that's not going to be the same Fijian side that we see in this quarterfinal, because when Fijians come in as an underdog, they actually play a lot better rugby. So this vid started an hour before the game. You ever saw folk by the end of the match? There's Arts Robinson. Well, you should see how early we are starting for South Africa versus France. We will be summarising what we have seen all throughout the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals, as well as what there is to look forward to in the future. We are starting 90 minutes before the kickoff. I always find that an hour almost doesn't seem enough. Definitely if we have got a lot of people in the chat, I want to try and read as many messages as possible. Fiji can do this, says Rudy. And allergic to the tide, says go travel, mate. And what's up, brother? Thanks for all your hard work and commentary. Everyone watching should subscribe. Says Patrick Hughes. Yeah, if anyone hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are hugely appreciative of every single one of you for being here for these matches. And we have got plenty more coming in the near future. We've got France versus South Africa around the corner. The sad thing is, this World Cup only has 6 games remaining. And that is crazy to think, because we started the competition with 48 and now 42 of them are gone. I'm quite sad about that, really. But we are going to be picking up the URC straight after the Rugby World Cup alongside quite a few other competitions from around the world. We have got the Afghanistan setting the scene in the cricket, says Far. And also, I wish to be mistaken, but I think today the big problem for the Red Rose might be Farrell. I agree. I feel like Owen Farrell at 10, bold call from Borthwick, rather than going with the informed forward and having Farrell come off the bench later on in the game. I feel like that would have been the much better choice, but they have decided to give Farrell that chance. I guess because he's captain, they might say that is why he's getting that little bit of an edge. If Fiji beat England, it puts England 9th in the world, says Kerr in the chat as well. So I'm not sure what England's lowest ranking is. I believe it's around that 10 mark, if I'm not wrong, but they would be getting slowly closer and closer to it. I appreciate you coming on early and talking. I love this stuff, says Robert. And also said it's coming to a close. And also I'm sad that I didn't get to join you for every game in this tourney, says Dylan. I think we've done pretty well overall in terms of being here for every match. I'll be honest, some of those games in the middle of the night, getting up after maybe 1 or 2 hours sleep and then going and doing 12 hours or so of being awake commentating, it's pretty brutal, but we made it through. And we've only got a little bit to go. And yeah, I feel like it's once this competition's over, it's going to be the reality of, now we're going to wait 4 years for the next one. But we will be back for the 2027 Rugby World Cup. We're hoping to be anyway. Fingers crossed everything till then goes all right, touch wood and whatnot. As we've seen, ratings don't mean much. Says 351. And also they should increase the number of teams in the World Cup to 24. France win puts them top in the world, just FYI, says Kerr. So yeah, there's a lot on the line, not just in terms of the quarterfinals and the semis, but in terms of the world rankings. Of course, people will look at those world rankings at the moment with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Whoever wins the World Cup normally does end up as that number one ranked side. We saw that for South Africa. Changes at the top after this weekend. And thanks for your commentary. SABC, I will show the box. Says Rudy. And also we have there, why didn't you wear? Says Ian. And there, I assume you're going to say, why didn't you wear a black tie, Ian? And that is because blue is more impartial in this contest. There we go. Ian put a black tie. But yeah, it's more impartial to have the blue. But also, I've still got like the black suit on. So I feel like that's still in favour of the Fijians, isn't it? What's your thoughts on Reinach starting? Says Hansi. I think it's a bold choice, but it's one that I quite like because it means that South Africa do want to be aggressive early on in the game rather than playing that kicking game, because normally when we see a side try and play that kicking game up against the French, it doesn't go so well. Perfect example of that is New Zealand versus France in the opening contest of the Rugby World Cup. So I like the fact that they've gone with Reinach to try and, I guess, get the game moving forward. And we have got there, our victory is so sweet, bro? Says Max. I mean, it was a brilliant game and it could have gone either way in that contest, but I'm just glad to see that so far throughout this Rugby World Cup, we haven't had a one-sided affair for the quarterfinals. As Pollard starting, says Gavin, he is not. He will be coming off the bench. Now, I should mention, at Stade de Marseille, it is 25 degrees Celsius and about 37 kilometres of wind, so maybe a little bit of a harder kicking day, but with the big stadium roof, it might not be too bad at all. Why is the box starting? Andre is way better. Says Rudy, that exact same reasoning is why Reinach is starting ahead of Faf de Klerk. More attacking. South Africa showing that they want to be aggressive early and try their absolute best to get points on the board and then have Pollard's stability later on in the contest to be able to help them out. Any discipline stats of these two teams says finding fun. Well, so far, we've seen both sides receive multiple yellow cards. We've seen the red card of Tom Curry. See Marcus Smith there, got the gold headphones as he was making his way into the stadium. And also Fiji, a big one now. I feel for them, says Rudy. And while the box promised to be as vicious and physical to the French, says Ocker, and lows from South Africa, says good at heart. So I should mention we are covering South Africa versus France straight after this contest. We'll be starting that live stream in just about 3 hours' time, or actually a little bit less than 3 hours' time. I would love to see the French win the cup. And Paris, says Gus, do you think you'll ever go white baiting on the West Coast? Says Ian, maybe not. To be honest, we actually went kahawai fishing the other day, and there were a lot of people white baiting down there, which was luring the kahawai into the shore just a little bit closer. And as I joke, says Nazi Williams, a first time betting on a game. Says T, well, it's a very bold game to start with. I will give you that, because it could easily go either way. And this fixture's on Farrell playing. He is indeed. He is going to be starting at number 10 for this game for the English. I hope to see you on Sky Sports sitting next to Kirsty Stanway. Says, mate, you're kidding. And also, why don't you sport black caps, says Anonymous. I mean, I'm from New Zealand and I play cricket, I watch cricket. So, like, just because I haven't mentioned that I'm supporting the Black Caps doesn't mean that I don't like watching the Black Caps play. It's just, this is a Rugby World Cup game. And New Zealand aren't even playing in it. So it would make no sense for me to randomly be like, hey guys, I love the Black Caps, by the way. Cheers. Watching all the way from Texas, by the way. I hope Farrell gets smashed tonight, says Kerr. And also, it would be amazing if it was an all-South semis, says Hansi. And at the moment, it can still be a possibility. And that would actually be 4 underdogs winning their their quarterfinals games as well. We have got best game to watch so far, Ireland versus New Zealand, 100%. Yeah, it could have easily been either team's game to win. In New Zealand, they just had to dig that a little bit deeper, and they needed Sam Whitelock, 151 cap veteran, to get that last turnover to stop the momentum of the Irish after 30 plus phases. But now the two sides lining up for the national anthem, so we will be going through looking at the starting lineups once more in this contest. Alice Genge at number 1, Jamie George at 2, and Dan Cole will be slotting in as the number 3 for this fixture. Maro Itoje and Ollie Chisholm. Chisholm coming off the try up against the Samoans in England's 18 points to 17 win for their last game of the group stage. Courtney Laws at 6. He's got long arms. We'll be looking to get those turnovers going head-to-head with Tangi Valu. So that should be a very physical outing. Tom Curry at number 7, the first player suspended in this Rugby World Cup, is now back and raring to go. And Ben Earl will be slotting in as number 8, Alex Mitchell at 9 with Owen Farrell at 10. That is the big question mark, I believe, across this English side, alongside maybe the fact that Marcus Smith is starting at 15 after only one start at number 15 throughout this competition. That was up against Chile Manu Tuolangi and Joe Marchant in the midfield combo. Elliot Daly out on the left wing, Johnny May out on the right, and like I mentioned, Marcus Smith at number 15. Then for the Fijians in this contest, they come in as underdogs, but they have certainly got a side stacked with talent and potential for this Rugby World Cup. Aroni Maui, he has been consistently starting at number 1 throughout this World Cup competition, has a few turnovers won, and also makes around that 10 tackle mark per game. Then he plays in Luke Tangi, will be the other prop. He is in a similar boat, has had a lot of starting minutes with Masaki Donga coming off the bench, who had scored 2 tries in his last few outings. And Tavita Ikanaveri, his first start of the Rugby World Cup. It has been Sam Matavesi pretty much every step of the way, but now Ikanaveri into the starting side offers a lot when it comes to that running game. We'll be looking to be physical here up against the English side. Now Silasila at 4, he is the lone lock who did not get injured from that last contest. They did lose Timo Mainavanua as well as Tarika Davita, which then brought in the man at number 5. Well, he's been brought in, but not quite as an injury replacement as he was still off the bench last week. That is Albert Tuisui, another player, Ratanaya Rawa. He has not been included in this Fijian team, but perhaps could get himself a chance if Fiji do progress through to the semi-finals. Lakima Tangi Valu, like I mentioned, a brilliant player. He did have a rest last week, but is now back and raring to go. Lavani Botia at 7 and Viliami Mata as the number 8. Then Frank Lamani and Vilamone Botitu, the 19 combo for the Fijians. It is exactly what they went with in their game up against the Portuguese. They'll be looking for a little bit more consistency in this game between those two, trying to feed it to this back line, because once you get past 9-10, when you see some of these other names, Joshua Tuisova, Waisia Naitalevu, Semi Radraja, Vinaya Habosi, and Eliza Ruasisi, there is a lot that can be done with those guys at the back. 5 players who all have X factor, all have the potential of crossing the try line throughout this quarter final. It's just whether or not England are going to be able to shut them down. In the chat, we have got 50 new messages, so I will try my best to be able to read a few of them at least. We've got there in the chat, Go New Zealand, says Lawrence, and also Let's Go Fiji, says Leon there, and also Box Must Show, the French No Mercy, says George, and also Morning Brother, the Kiwi Lads, says David Lee. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Commentators from the US TV are dismissing South Africa. It's all island in France. I thought they'd cry yesterday, says Gavin, and Otoje will be burst by halftime. He's past it, says Kerr, and also Tedico says Robert. Also, we have, tell you what, all the chat is flying by. I do appreciate every single one of you being here. It's warm to hear you pronouncing their names accurately. This is why you're making a good commentator, or you'd make a good commentator or sports show host. Says, mate, you're kidding. And also, amazing how many South African-born players are on other teams, says Gavin. And there as well. But now these two sides making their way out of the tunnel. And Big Ad destroyed us. Wouldn't skip. Says 3-5-1, and High All says KP, and England will win today, but semis no chance, says George. So I should mention the winner of this contest, they will go on to face the winner of South Africa versus France. Now we have got it confirmed, the first semi-final, Argentina versus New Zealand, the All Blacks in action up against Los Pumas. The second one, this will be taking place in 6 days' time now, I believe it is. So it's pretty awesome that we are so close to the Rugby World Cup semi-finals. There are only 4 games to go after today's action is finished, with, of course, France versus South Africa just around the corner. But the World Cup, it is placed between the two sides. There's a lot on the line here for the Fijians. They have perhaps made it even further than they anticipated throughout this Rugby World Cup comp in such a tough group. In Pool C, they dug deep. They got themselves to win over the Australians. And in their last 2 games, it looked like maybe it was just going to slip out of their grasp, but they kept hanging on. They kept fighting for a chance of making it through to this quarter final to go head-to-head with the English side, which they did beat just before the Rugby World Cup competition. Fiji handling errors is a big problem, says Rudy. I think that both of these sides will look at what they did last week. We've got to remember England beating Samoa 18 points to 17. That was nowhere near the best English performance we could have seen See if I'm not tired for France, South Africa. It's almost 4 a.m. here in New Zealand, says David Lee. It certainly is. Currently 3:55 a.m. Nice late start to the day, or early morning start, depending on how you look at it. You should commentary the cricket. Also, we have done some cricket in the past, but then normally when we do the cricket, we do end up with copyright strikes. So that is why we haven't done a huge amount of the Cricket World Cup in the last little while. Rugby stays the winner. Boys plus girls, all the following games are going to be bonkers, says Richard. And also your prediction, says Michael. I believe that this first 20 minutes is going to shape the game. I started off thinking Fiji would pull off the upset. Then my momentum, it swayed back in favour of England with a tight victory. But to be honest, it's a very tricky one to call because Fiji have got the potential with this backline. If they can get it to those important players like Waisea, Naya Levu out wide to Semi Radradra, Vinaya Habossi, we know he's going to make it at least 100 metres if you keep on feeding him the ball. In this game, go Fiji go, says Letha. And also don't count out Argentina yet, says David Lee. And did anyone else think they were watching the ABs playing the ABs yesterday? Says Fluffy, and if Samoa beat England, then Argentina would have dodged the ABs in the semis, says Sir Michael. And good day, Hamish. Any news on them Mango, says Cobra with the Gay. Sadly, still out of season here in New Zealand, which does mean we are unable to get any of them yet. But hopefully in the summer we'll be able to find. So I'm looking through at the reserves for this contest. Theo Dan at number 16, Joe Marler 17, and Kyle Sinclair as the number 18. George Martin and Billy Vunipola, the other two forward replacements for the English. Then Danny Kerr, George Ford, and Ollie Lawrence as the back replacements. Now, Ford will be able to have quite the impact, I believe, later on in this contest with the way he has been playing throughout this Rugby World Cup. It was the bold call to put Farrell in the starting side, and we are soon to see whether or not that does pay off for the Fijian Sam Matavesi to come off the bench. They are just showing the Fijian national anthem. A lot of determined faces. Semi Radradra, Tui Sova, those two men standing side by side is a midfield combo that a lot of people love to see, but Radradra finds himself situated out on that left wing for this contest. Penny Ravai at 17 and Masaki Donge, a man who has scored 2 tries throughout this Rugby World Cup, will be there. And number 18, Meri Terialangi, as the locking replacement perhaps in this game due to the injuries of Maina Vanua as well as Tarika Davita. And then Vileve Mira at number 20, Simeone Kuravuli, a man who single-handedly helped the Fijians in their game up against the Australians. Or Sifu Masi, the Fijian drawer superstar who scored more tries in an individual season than any other for the Fijian drawer in their short Super Rugby tenure. And then Sareli Mangwala and number 23 to close out this Fijian team, almost having 200 running metres in the last contest. If you can even have like 50 off the bench here, could be the difference. I'm enjoying your commentary. Thank you, says Michael. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. And also what a time to be alive, says Mumbo Jumbo there. And also England need to be physical and bully the Fijians, says I am Jeffrey. Although we saw in their game up against the Samoans, being physical didn't exactly work for the English. I honestly believe that the way that England win this game would be through structure rather than physicality, because we know Fiji are going to be able to match that physicality. But it's whether or not they can match the English structure that they can offer in that backline, because Fiji, if they get that counter-attack, more times than not, they're able to find that next offload that leads to a try. So for England, I honestly feel like their game could be won with their backs, in this case rather, than the forwards. Hi, good evening, Hamish. I went for England, but I would love to see Fiji getting a win. I see lots of people went for Fiji. Here's hoping, says Brian. And there as well, but I see a ninth, the Levu on the halfway line. The Fijians just about ready to go for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. You all being here. We're currently 400 away from 39,000. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Have you recovered from yesterday's game? A little bit. I mean, my voice is still a little bit shaky, but should be fine by the time we get through these two live streams. And who else thought the ref was trying to let Ireland win against the All Blacks in the last 5 minutes, says Sir Mikhail. I mean, I think it was just one of those games, though, that momentum shifted so quickly between the two. FYI, Hamish found a place in South Island that delivers Kobe steaks, says Kerr. I feel like I didn't know we were that fancy in the South Island. Do they deliver everywhere or just to the big cities, though? Are you the guy from rugby? Says Unthinkable. That depends what guy from rugby you're talking about. Unthinkable. And also, hi, Hamish from sunny South Africa. and when this game would start. So it is going to be starting in only 2 minutes' time. The Fijians now fired up. Pre-match rituals taking place. And now we are ready to go for the quarterfinals, ladies and gentlemen. England versus Fiji. Like I mentioned, a repeat of what we saw in a Rugby World Cup warm-up game in which the Fijians got themselves a historic first ever victory over the English. That game was 30 points to 22. This game, to be honest, it could be as high scoring, if not maybe even a little bit higher. Can you imagine being the ref with a game like yesterday? You truly know, or you have to know your stuff. Says Ty, I think they'll deliver anywhere. Not sure if there's a minimum order, says Kerr. And there's let's pray for Fiji, says Mike C, and good luck to both nations. Says McCowan, hi, says Joe D, and love the Fijian attire. Yeah, their away kit is very nice, the Fijians, although it does seem to split opinions. But for me, I think it looks very nice indeed. The red and the black trim. We have got there, Hamish, do you think All Blacks will keep Foster if they win the World Cup? They already have given it to Scott Robinson. So this will be Ian Foster's last job as All Blacks head coach. But the question mark is, if Ian Foster has a World Cup in his cabinet, does he get maybe another coaching deal? I know Australia looking for a coach after Eddie Jones is trying to jump ship. Although I don't think they would go with Ian Foster as their coaching option. Scotland choked, Wales choked, Ireland choked. England will follow today, says Xander. Although I don't know whether Scotland, to a certain extent, people would say that they choked, but just because they were always going to be up against it from the get-go, and I don't think many anticipated them to get out of that group. So the efforts that they put in, I still thought were pretty strong. Rather listen to you than these commentators in the US. The Australian woman is a nightmare. No offense to women commentators, but she doesn't stop blabbering. Watching Bradio, says Gavin. I mean, I am probably the king of just blabbering, Gavin. Like, we have talked for a full hour before the kickoff of this contest, but the English will be kicking off this game, ladies and gents, at Marseille. It's going to be an absolutely electric one, and I do look forward to seeing the action. Matthew Reynell in charge of this one as the head referee. Nick Berry is going to be one of the assistants. Please, England, just give it to Fiji. They deserve it, says Dylan. And also USA is looking for a coaching staff, says Gus there. And also, who got man of the match yesterday, says Peter Wild. I honestly think it was either Sam Kane or Adi Savi. It might have been Sam Kane, but now it is kicked off, ladies and gentlemen. Quarterfinals underway, and Fiji with Viliami Mata taking it inside of their own 22 now. They have to try and match the English early on. Looks like Frank Lamani will be rolling this one back. I believe that is why they decided to go with him in this contest, for that kicking aspect early on. Of course, Kuravuli can offer that as well, but instead going with Frank Lamani, seeing as he did start in the last game. Now Daly goes out to Tuolangi, decides to take the contact. He's tackled well by Vinaya Habosi. But England, they are 40 metres out now from Fiji's line. Ben Earl rush defence on him by Taveta Ikanaveri. The Fijian draw hooker does very nicely. England with the switch going from right to left now. Marcus Smith off to Courtney Laws trying to break through. He's tackled low by Waisia Nayatalevu. Now Farrell again goes in behind to Marcus Smith, who sold the dummy, almost piercing his way through. Fiji losing their feet in the breakdown. Tom Curry goes back, cross kick from Owen Farrell, straight out to Johnny May, but they are still 22 metres out from the line. Now Mitchell goes across to the left, flat pass to Ellis Genge. Fiji looking to get it in the breakdown, but for now England keeping the ball very nicely with their ball security. Lavani Bortia, though, over the ball this time and wins the penalty for the Fijians. He is an absolute superstar when it comes to getting in those breakdowns. We have got there, it keeps pausing. Hamish joining again for the great commentary, says Aniki, welcome in. And also, we have got there, we can watch the match free. So, depending on whereabouts you are in the world, it will depend on your option. But if you go on the Rugby World Cup website, you will be able to see the best option depending on where you are in the Where to Watch tab. We have got there. And the Let's Go Fiji, says Rody. And Hamish, your commentary with the New Zealand Island game yesterday was very good. Thanks, says Sander. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. And also Go Fiji, says Harness, and Go Fiji, says Ranjin. And there as well. But now Fiji with the line out throw, 45 metres out from their own line to Vede Ikanaveri, firing it into Usoa. Now Sila Lamani goes across to Lavani Bortia. Big shot coming in on him by Ellis Genge. Trying to match early with that Fijian power to Vede Ikanaveri, ball on the outside to Vinaya Habosi, who's tried to kick it in behind. He has kicked it out on the full though. Crowd asking for the late shot on him, but the ball was already drifting into touch, so it will now be an English line out for the ball out. On the full, Johnny Sexton has retired. So has Keith Earls. Says Tom O'Keen. You can watch it live if you go to Marseille. Says Fluffy, and also Mark Smith. Someone has poor internet using $2 internet cafe. Says Blues Nay. And let's go Fiji. Says Lord Exquisitor. Or Inquisitor, I should say, sorry. Jamie George straight into Courtney Laws 3 minutes into this contest. I believe that it's going to be a slow, methodical build for both of these teams. Fiji trying to push the English towards the touchline, and it's been sacked legally, and that ball is stuck in there. Stolen by Viliami Mata at scrum time. At line-out time with the rolling maul. Now Fiji back in position. Lamani, loopy pass over the top to Lavani Bortia. Almost ran straight into Matthew Reynal. We've already seen one injury for a referee this week. Oh, big spear tackle on Vilamoni Bortito. He's kicked it in behind, playing territory there for the Fijians. Dan Bigger is retiring too, says Lord Inquisitor. And also, come on England, says Cliff Palmer, and I'm wishing for a New Zealand versus Springboks final, says Frederick. Wouldn't it be awesome if Fiji won the World Cup, says H. Smith. It would certainly help the Pacific Island rugby. I mean, we've already seen the impact. Big late shot from Owen Farrell, always to be expected, but he did it just in time that it wasn't that late that he gets penalised. And good kick, says Gavin. If you had more viewers than yesterday, Hamish says David Vickers. I don't believe so. Not at a concurrent time. We haven't had more than we did have on Ireland versus New Zealand. Now rolling more. Jamie George inside of the 22 for England here. Just looking to get a few extra metres before Mitchell will send it high with the box kick. That is, of course, if the Fijians can stop the rolling maul, which at the moment it's looking like it's going to be very tricky to do. Big shot coming in now. Albert Tuisui wrestles underground, lying on it. They do have to let the ball come out though. Now 13 metres out from their own line. And also Irish fans are very toxic and cocky, says Chuck T. And we all want Fiji to win, says Xander. Of course, not the English supporters. They'll be hoping for the English to make their way through in a possible rematch of either the Six Nations or the Rugby World Cup final from 2019. Vilamoni Botitu back in the pocket once again. Will send it to the sky. Deep into English territory. Marcus Smith inside of the 22 does call for the mark. This chat is unreadable yesterday. Too many people, says David, which is why this chat, I feel like it's quite nice in a way that we can get through a few more messages. Now, I will mention there will still be some that I do end up missing just because of the pace of the live chat. But yeah, it's greatly appreciated you all being here for these live streams. On the URC and also on the Sevens, we should have a little bit more time to be able to read those messages. And we might even cover a few of the smaller games around the world as well, just so that we get a little bit more chance to be able to chat alongside the commentaries. Quickly taken at line-out time by Fiji. Nice run forward from Tuisova, but he is dragged down by Alice Genge on the halfway line. Nice attack and run from Albert Tuisui, a man who came into the starting lineup due to the injury of Timo Mainavanua. Nice sniping run from Vilamoni Botitu, but the pass was forward. It was also knocked on. Johnny May knocks it on also. And now it will be going back for the scrum. Belir has said, I love your commentary, thanks. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. I do apologise if I did get that one slightly wrong. Come on, Fiji, from Savaland. There's a Nicholas there. So I guess the question mark, ladies and gentlemen, because I know we've got quite a few South African viewers. Do you guys want to be playing, if you make it through to the semi-final? Of course, there's no guarantees, but I do think South Africa should have what they need to make their way through. Would you rather play Fiji, or would you rather play England? Do let me know. We've got there England and Botito amazing, says Jody. Yeah, he started the game very well so far. And subscribe and like the Kiwi lads. Guys, admit it. Are they going to be big? Let's see. 100k in the future. What a pleasure. Man, are you good, says Bernard. Thank you very much, mate. Usually greatly appreciated as well. Now, scrum fee. First one of the day. Now, we only saw one scrum throughout the first half of Ireland versus New Zealand. That will be a free kick taken by England quickly for the little bit of an early push from the Fijians. Now Joe Marchant shut down by Waisia Naya Talevu Banaya. Bossia wins the penalty for Fiji once more. Rather play Fiji, says Kevin. Definitely Fiji. And also hoping for a Fiji win, says Frederick. And South Africa versus New Zealand in the final, says Rogan Duprea. And there it's all about what which tram brought their game with them. Says H. Smith and Fiji Paha. I love to upset Springbok in the semi, says Nasal. Now, the kick has gone into touch for the Fijians. That is the second penalty that they have won in the breakdown. That time it was Vinaya Habosi who got over the ball. Last time it was Lavani Botia. Now Habosi actually playing out on the right wing for this game rather than on that left wing side. That is due to Radradra returning into the starting lineup. Tavita Ikanaveri now with that line out throw. Didn't look very straight, but it is called straight enough. Now Tuisova going in behind. Another offload from Vilamoni Botitu. Habosi in the midfield, driving those legs. We've already seen Alice Genji have to make a huge amount of tackles throughout the early stages of this fixture. Been lurking next to those breakdowns. Eliza Droasisi, great hands. The pass was a little bit low. Tom Curry looking for the turnover. Is told not to go for it. Now I saw a Nasilisila, big shot coming in on him by Courtney Laws. Skip pass from Tuisova out to Radradra, who bumps off Marcus Smith once, but he takes him down the second time. Now Lamani sitting currently about 45 metres out the line. Tuisova receives the rough pass in behind him. Luke Tangi charging. It's an elusive number 3, but Courtney Laws gets in there and wins the turnover for England in the breakdown. Seems like it's going to be a hotly contested battle when it comes to that ball hitting the ground, which might be why both sides opt to go for more offloads throughout this game rather than allowing that ball into the contact. And I also think it will be New Zealand South Africa final, says Frederick. Doesn't matter, England or Fiji, but cheering for Fiji here. Says Jane, and England has gone soft. Says Elena, well, that's the thing. Both of these sides have had a game within 1 point for their last performance. Fiji losing to Portugal by the 1 point, 24 points to 23. Whereas England, they did defeat the Samoans 18 points to 17. And Fiji, because they are the Southern Hemisphere, we should get rid of the Northern Hemisphere, says Marina. And also Chucky probably looked like something out of a horror movie, says Penny Lang. Now nice short ball. Manu Tuolangi 10 metres out from the try line. Fiji looking to get their turnover, but they will end up giving away the penalty for not rolling away in the breakdown. Jamie George, flat ball off to Alice Genge, taken down low by Taveta Ikanaveri, flat sling and pass from Owen Farrell out wide. I believe that's going to be now Johnny May moving within the 3 metres. Mitchell to the short side, shut down early by his officer number Lamani. And Fiji, they do get themselves that ball back in the breakdown, so they'll go back for the original penalty. Now, this is where the decision needs to be made for England. Do they go for the 3 points and get the lead in finals rugby, or do they go for the corner? Do they think that they should be able to score it easier than perhaps they can? I feel like at this stage, straight out in front of the post, you take the 3 points every day of the week. And they will. Owen Farrell agrees. They will take on the 3. So that's actually for a high tackle. I believe Tuisova is the man penalised there for tackling Manu Tuolangi, but then also with the fact that Lavani Botia couldn't get out of the breakdown, that was also going to be a penalty against them as well. Fiji doing quite well on the breakdown, says Shane Holloway, and that is something that they pride themselves on, being able to get in there quickly and effectively turning the ball over. But that time, Owen Farrell gets the kick over. England now take the lead 3 points to 0 after the first 11 minutes. Now, I will mention this is going to be a fast-paced encounter, ladies and gents, between these two sides. Farrell jogging back to the halfway line. And England ham man rather than, says Bernard. I don't know, I would have gone for the 7, says Lord Inquisitor. Although, as an example, I know that this is an example that's still fresh in the minds of a lot of people, but Ireland did decide to go for the corner in the early stages up against New Zealand rather than taking the points on offer. And I feel like in finals rugby, anytime you get the chance to take points, definitely when you are at 0-0, you take them just to make sure that you get far enough ahead. And those little points could be the difference between a win and a loss in the close games we've seen so far. Now, Alex Mitchell, 40 metres out from the line. Should have risked some longer passes in the end, says Toby. And also, we have got there... where's Balanathangi? Balanathangi, if I said that correctly, that ball has gone into touch, and that will actually be another penalty in favour of the English. I think that was something to do with where Elliot Daly was. Hi guys, I've been making financial chips. Sorry, not a Bryce, says Charles. And also shoulda, coulda, woulda won, says Chuck T in there. And also, I like that. I like the alternative kick from Fiji. I really dig. Yeah, it's a nice kick. On Farrell, great kick towards the corner. This time now, England deciding to opt to go for the possibility of the 7 rather than the 3. And this maul is effective, says Gus, and discipline is going to cost Fiji. So yeah, Viliami Mata, it was actually him going up alongside Elliot Daly. So he did get penalised for a bit of obstruction. Currently 54% possession in favour of the English at this stage of the match. Now Jamie George throws it into Maro Atoje and a well-set rolling maul for the English. Fiji have struggled to defend it throughout the first 10 minutes or so, and the few times that we have seen it start to move. Matthew Reynell watching eagerly, but Jamie George now starts to go. Lekema Tangi Valu does brilliantly to be able to pull it down. Looked like it was almost a knock-on on the ground, but it was from Fiji, so play on. Farrell to the short side. Manu Tuolagi spins, and he gets over the line, the big man, at number 12. He was playing 13 last week, but this week, moving back to his preferred inside centre and scores the early try for the English. I'll go like this. Tuolangi, there we go, 14th minute. We're back, 13th minute of the contest. The English get themselves try number 1. They did decide to go for the corner that time rather than taking on the 3, and that rolling maul has already proven effective for England. I believe that could be one of their keys throughout this matchup. Fiji is a little rough, says Fire 2. And also Fiji winning by 7 points, says Rogan, in time to win for England. Come on, says Jody. That beautiful spin from Tuolangi. Decent effort from Vinaya Habossi to try and stop him, but just too close to the try line. A not effortless Kiwi. And Hamish, old chap, it's all about riffing. And there you have it. Palms made score, says Charles. Yeah, but you can't say that, like, I know that you like to refer to refereeing every single time something happens, but, like, it was a clear penalty which then led to a try. So really what you should be talking about is discipline in this case. Fiji giving away a couple easy penalties in the last little while for a high tackle and then also for taking a man out in the air, and it's starting to cost them on the scoreboard. Farrell hits the post, so the score will remain at 8 points to 0. Let's see Fiji give England a good test, says Stephen Archer, and England sneaking through the back door, says Stefan there. And don't worry, I don't know why else want to go or do that towards the Island Brothers, says Nazi Williams. For him in New Zealand, go bed, says Terminator. Although we did go bed earlier on, we slept for like 5 hours, and now we're back up ready to go for another all-nighter watching the rugby. Now it's going to be Courtney Lawes and sort of inside of the 22. Alex Mitchell gets the kick away. A good strike on that one. Also, Northampton Saints side not quite getting themselves the win in the Gallagher Premiership. Discipline is huge. AC teams dropping 10 plus points from the lack of discipline, says Lord Inquisitor. And just arrived in Pretoria. Go Fiji, says Goldberg. And all the English haters on here, says Benny Lane, and come on Fiji. Got to play smarter. Now Taveta Ikanaveri on the halfway line with the line out throw. Already 15 minutes through in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. But I will mention, if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And H-Boy, one of the balls, says Jody. Fiji, this looks like they're going to roll it back and have another crack at kicking it in behind. Now, I'm not sure whether or not this is the tactic the Fijians should be going with. Beautifully taken by Elliot Daly. Gets it right down to the Fijians now being 22 metres out from their line. I'll be honest, you don't want to play a kicking game with England. I think Fiji will learn that very quickly if they do keep on allowing it to take place. Marcus Smith now in the midfield. A lot of space for him. Trying to step around. Great low tackle made though by Tuisova. Counter ruck from the Fijians. And Waisenoi Falevu cleans it up now. And Fiji back in position. 40 metres from the line. Lakema Tangi Valu did score that ripper of a try earlier on in 2023. Luke Tangi drives his legs. Lamani looks off to the right-hand side where he does have numbers. Thought about the offload was Eliza Drosisi, but the English were offside. Advantage now in favour of the Fijians. Lavani Botia tackled by Curry, and they will go back for the original penalty. Now Fiji have to make that decision. Do they go for the 3 points or do they go for the 7 house game? So far, it's a fast-paced one between the two sides. It's actually the try scorer Manu Tuolangi this time, who has been penalised for offside. Right, Fiji will take on the 3 points now. Penny don't seem as Kiwi Lads channel, says Chuck D. Is Radradra playing? He is. He's out on the left wing for this contest. Good day, King Amish. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Just because you say it in Afrikaans, Charles, doesn't mean I don't know what you're saying. And objectively, which sport takes more skill, football, soccer, or rugby? Says Adam Lombard. That's the kind of question that gets a lot of people angry at him. But in terms, that's the thing. In terms of, no, I don't want to answer it because I know I'll get in trouble. I was going to say rugby though, mainly because you have got to do the work and the breakdown alongside it. Lamani has hit the post, then it's come down, hit the other post, but it has not gone over for Frank Lamani. And also here says Michael at this stage, you must take what you can. The 3 points, says Stefan. And also I know they are upset because we are Northern Hemisphere, says Mark Smith. Just millimetres, like they've said, from going over, but Fiji missed that early 3 opportunity. I'm sure you understand that's what important. You understand the feeling, says Charles. I understand it's all you say is the referees, no matter what's happened in the game at that point. Now Lamani in behind. Tavera Kanaveri gives it off to Maro Itoje with the line break. Massive fend from him. Moves up to 22 metres out, and the English on a hot attack. That's going to be a deliberate knockdown by Fiji in the tackle attempt. Or is it? Right, they're actually looking back for some foul play. No arms tackle. That might be from England, actually. They are about to show the replay, though. And also we have got their... come on, Fiji, says Susanna. And also, of course, Fiji will be easier for us, says Hadeda. And also Hamish, I hope there is a good wallop of vodka. And they're right there, chicken here. Yep, no arms from Tom Curry. That will be the penalty against them. Just trying to chop out the legs of Tuisova rather than wrapping. So Fiji now. And it looks like he's actually injured Tuisova from doing so, unless that's Luke Tungi down now. That might be Luke Tungi, in fact. And TMO have been brilliant. And also we have got there, your name again, please, Kiwi lad, says Creary. Hopefully I've said that correctly. So it is Hamish. But they have gone upstairs for the TMO. Whether or not this gets upgraded to a yellow card or just a penalty. Looks like it will just be a penalty against Tom Curry for now. Yeah, just not wrapping the arms. Can be extremely dangerous. Chopping out at Tuisova's knees. This could end up being a yellow card. We've actually seen them given as yellows before. No arms tackle. It's just going to be the penalty. And Hamish, it is indeed, yep. And give him a red. Get him out of here, says Justin. But it is great news that Tuisova is all right. Now Fiji have got another chance to add the 3 points. This time from 30 metres straight out in front. Do you think you will ever go on the West Coast whitebaiting? Probably not, no. Not that I can think of, because I haven't really had whitebait, and I feel like I'd rather catch a fish than the mini ones, you know. He has to go to tackle school. Like Kiwi Lad says, Dad Bad, welcome in. Now Lamani to close the gap a little bit between these two sides. Normally pretty accurate in his kicking, so he'd be disappointed that he missed that first chance at the post, but should not miss this one. Come on, Fiji, says Susanna, and a couple of spots of whiskey and all as well. There you have it. The Ponds get a penalty, but Fiji would have been yellow carded. Says Charles, so that kick has gone over from Lamani, now making the score 8 points to 3 in the early stages of this matchup. Tom Curry having a bit of a laugh about that one. Looks like quite a few players are smiling. Frank Lamani having a bit of a chat to Owen Farrell as well. Everyone's just loving the atmosphere at the moment by the looks of it. Being out there for the quarterfinal. Was it the over-under? On hitting the post, says Gus. Yeah, so pretty much he hit the left hand upright, and then from there it bounced down and actually bounced off the lower post to then come back out, if that makes sense. So it had quite a bit of something on it to make it hit all the posts that it did, but he didn't quite get it over. But that time he did, Frank Lamani. It's now 8 points to 3. Come on, Fiji, says Susanna. Don't forget who taught the games to play accordingly, says Fire 2. And Curry will have Fiji for dinner, says James. Well, he's got to make sure he wraps his arms, or else he'll be sitting on the bench for the rest of the game. Or in the naughty chair. Nice short ball to Joe Marchant. Now Fiji contesting in the breakdown, but unable to get the ball. Farrell goes back to Marcus Smith, who tries to snipe. He's been hit hard. And that tackle by, I think it was Tuisova. No, it was Benaya Habossi. Ended up getting wrong-footed barrel with the no-look pass, but actually ends up hanging on to it instead, taking contact. Now Ben Earl. I think Marcus Smith did take a heavy knock from Vinaya Habossi. They may even check that one to see what happened. England can't tackle, says Africa Unite. Now going to the short side. Skip pass out wide to Elliot Daly. In fact, it's Johnny May offload on the inside to Maru Atoje. Now Ellis Genge trying to build up some leg driving. Advantage for taking the player off the ball. Oh, awkward landing for Ben Earl. Another advantage against BG for not rolling away on the breakdown. Now Courtney Laws, 10 metres out, finds his offload to Genge. Gets it away to Manu Tuolangi, who's already scored one try. Alex Mitchell, short ball to Courtney Laws. They're going to be held up 2 metres out from the Fijian try line now. Mitchell gets it short again to Ellis Genge. Been on the verge of scoring multiple times. Farrell and behind to Marchant, who steps in, goes, and he'll score the try there for the English. They now extend their lead by just that little bit more. And both midfielders. And there's foul play from Vinaya Habossi, and I believe, yeah, it's the one that I'm thinking where he ran across. I want to say because there was a change of direction. At worst, this will be a yellow card, but there could still be something in this. Fiji could end up finding themselves with only the 14 men out on the field. Yeah, head on head between Vinaya Habossi and Marcus Smith. Oh, that's a real bad one, actually. That might almost be a red card for Vinaya Habossi. Charging in far too high. That's a red, not a yellow. Says Scott Bauer. Yeah, in the replay, Vinaya Habossi, I thought that the mitigating factor may be the fact that Marcus Smith was stepping back in, but the fact that Vinaya Habossi is so far upright might be the determining factor that stops him from being able to play in the rest of this game. Good day, everyone, says Denzel. Welcome in and come on, England, says Richard. And Filthy Fiji, says James and Joe Schmidt and Ryan were the masterminds behind AB's strategy, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Yeah, though Ian Foster, he's still got to get some credit, I feel, for what the All Blacks were able to do. At the end of the day, he is at the helm, so he had to make a few decisions. And Amish commentary is about 4 to 5 seconds behind the scoreboard behind you. Says Milan there, but there will be a yellow card and a report, so which does mean it is going to be under review. He's got 8 minutes. I asked you a question about my granny. Says Ian, well, I did not see it, unfortunately, because it went so quick. And all that's bad. Looks like a red, says Gus. So yeah, if England have got a man advantage for the rest of this game, I think that that's going to be a massive hit. And I should mention Masaki Donge now making his way onto the field. That is to replace the injured Luke Tangi. So the Fijians at the moment, they've got one player off with an injury, one player off due to the yellow. That looks like a red all day to me, unfortunately. Yeah, due to the step, like I said, I thought initially that they would just keep it as a yellow, but because he stepped, but Vinaya Habossi was so upright coming in at force, that will be what makes it probably a red card. I didn't see it really, mate, says Siabonga. And then England need 118 runs to win with 3 wickets, says John. So that'll be a tough chase, but they've got potential. Who's in at the moment batting for them, John? Do let me know. But now Alex Mitchell kicking that ball downfield from inside of the 22. The kick has gone over from Farrell. And also we have got there, it is irrelevant if it is unintentional, says Akaris. And there as well. Now Vinaya Habossi has to eagerly await to find out whether or not he will be continuing. Now I will mention Tom Curry got a red card early on in the competition for a lot less than that one. Different rules for England. Credit to Jace Ryan and Joe Smith, not Fozzie, says Victor. Now Fiji's line out has not worked out. It is back in the hands of the English. Alex Mitchell rolling that ball back. It's going to be put high. By Mitchell down towards the 22. It's gone out on the full, though. An unnecessary WTF, says Chris R. Charles. Yeah, just charging him way too high. Vinaya Habossi trying to put in the big hit. Marcus Smith, the elusive step. He was cutting back inwards, and Vinaya Habossi just cleaned him up. And Greg Feek, they're behind the AB's 4-packs. Tears Blues, Nate. Of course, a good friend, Norm Maxwell. He'll be very happy what the AB's were able to do. Lakema Tangi Valu, they're going back for the penalty. 7 taking the 9. That's against Tom Curry once again. That's 2 penalties. As well, Wooster Brothers need a miracle now, damn. Says Chill. I have an issue for the cards. I want to just give a penalty without having to kick. 3 points. Says Michael Peacock. Fiji make a small miracle, or need a small miracle to come back from this. It looks like Fiji are going to actually take on the 3 points here, which, to be honest, this will be good for using up a bit more time on the clock while they are down to 14 men, but I honestly believe that they will be down to 14 for the rest of this contest now. RWF ref, that's never a penalty, scares Scott Bowie, and the usual lot may need to wait another week, says Big Dave. And just put headphones on, girlfriend now happy, says Stephen Archer. And 26 minutes in, Lamani to line up this kick. Just to make sure it goes over. He's got 14 seconds left on the clock. And he's hooked it away to the side, missing to the left, and the score will now remain 15 points to 3 in favour of the English, who will clear it from inside of their 22. Now line out for Fiji, about 25 metres out from the line. Fiji bring the heat. Fiji needs a drop goal every chance, says Alan. I'm so tense from our game tonight, or for our game tonight. I almost like I'm about to write a chemistry exam, but every time I ace those tests, I'm a bock, says SC Jones. Atavera Ikanaveri gets it in to Asoa Nasilasila, dragged down instantly by Maro Atoje. And just an idea, Hamish, about the 3 points penalty without a kick, says Michael. It'll be an interesting one, though, if they ever did look at something like that, mainly because where do you judge a kick being able to be considered as the 3 points? Like, is it within the 40 or within the 50, or whereabouts can you be that you do receive that? If they get a yellow card just out from your own line, do you get the points? Does that make sense? I feel like there'd be a bit of ironing out that needs to be done, but who knows? Maybe they could look at it. Lamani off to the left-hand side to Masaki Donge, already scoring 2 tries. Now this Rugby World Cup competition, Vilamoni Bautitu, beautiful pass off to Tuisova. Now they are within 10. Martin looking for the turnover, couldn't get it. Lamani off now to Lavani Bortia, who just runs as hard as he can at the try line. And England giving away a new penalty advantage in the breakdown through the legs from Vilamoni Bortitu, mutter up the middle, and he'll score the first try of the match for the Fijians. And they are now back in the contest. Viliami Mata, a man who's probably been pretty unlucky throughout his Rugby World Cup to not have crossed the try line more. But Mata now in the 27th minute, the gap opened up. England giving away that penalty just in front of their line, or at least the advantage. Pollard is not starting for the Springboks. They are giving the French a huge advantage. They will still lose to the mighty Springboks, says HR. And also, yes, go Fiji. How badly did they need that? Lamani looking for the ball. But great try. Bad score. This makes it a better game test in England. And that through the leg pass was magical to set up the try, says bystander. Yeah, I believe that was actually Vilamoni Bortitu who got that right. And he was one of those guys from last game that did seem like he was a little bit shaky, but maybe just needed some more minutes under his belt to be able to find that momentum. But that kick has gone over, so making the score 15 points to 10 now in favour still of the English. But the big question mark is going to be, will that card be upgraded? I think we will find out extremely soon. And Mark, there is a chance. And also, we have got there, if so, they should be a red, says Scott. And great commentary listening all the way from South Africa, says Cat Lego. And of course, we are going to be back for the next game that has taken place. Oh, here's the information, ladies and gentlemen. It will remain as a yellow card. The change of direction from Marcus Smith. So I did say that a step initially, I thought that it may have impacted it, and it's done just enough to keep it at just a yellow due to the directional change of Marcus Smith. Still way too high for Vinaya Bossi. A commentary seems to be based on politics, not actual sporting ability. Is that ours, Charles, or just the actual commentary? Half the time I have no idea what you're talking about, Charles. I'll be honest. Vilavota Botitu goes now to draw. Cece charge down. Fiji still just out from their own try line. Now looking for the counter-attack. That is a forward pass. Just out from their own goal line. Although Fiji have been allowed to play on just for now. I used to be the TMO. Says a Fluffy. And the South Africa versus France will be a mirror of New Zealand Ireland, says Ty. I said too, the movement mitigated it to the yellow, and good decision, says Richard. And well, really good news about only being a yellow, says Michael. And Smith is very wiggly, quick change of direction. Yeah, although I think Vinaya Bossy will look at that and go, I tackle way too high. And if I can go down a little bit more, I have a lot more success. So he will be back onto the field in the next few minutes or so, ladies and gentlemen. And for our whole thinking change of direction, you say, says Gus. And Ireland down bad, says Jack. I mean, that's the thing though. Ireland, they've had a brilliant Rugby World Cup. They got unlucky in that game up against New Zealand. I've said it as well. If those two sides played again tomorrow, Ireland could easily win it. And that's the beauty of those top sides in the world at the moment. It's just so back and forth. Good. Hey, you got the banana, lucky wasn't an apple, says Chill. And also, that was red all day. Some real inconsistency in this World Cup, says Carter. So not your commentary. It's damn good. It's people that contribute get so uptight. And also, let's go Fiji, says Pixie Dust. Now England skip pass out to Courtney Laws, who will be driven into touch. Lot of physicality shown there by Viliami Mata. Almost a bit of push and shove. I was just waiting to see if anyone was going to throw anything a little bit more. And update the screen. Mark, it's a good game, says it was there from Chuck T. And also, who will the winner play in the semi-finals? So the winner of this game will go on to face the winner of to face the winner of South Africa versus France. I hope Fiji wins, says Vanessa. Go Fiji, says Andrew, and come on Fiji. And also, damn, the live I was watching got taken down, says Hole for Harry. And yeah, unfortunately on YouTube, there will be a lot of streams that do get taken down that are showing the game, which pretty much is always a perfect example of when people are like, you should just show it. That's why we do not, because you do get taken down pretty early. Now rolling maul for the English has worked out that they've been able to shut down Fiji's rolling maul. It wasn't the apple that caused trouble in the Garden of Eden. It was a pear on the ground, says Charles. And also Ireland win over the block could end up looking very good. And also as a halfway, says Easy Art. So we're currently 32 minutes into this game. So it's been absolutely flying by. Should mention we have been streaming at the moment for 1 hour, 37 minutes. We did a big build up for this matchup. It keeps pausing, says Mark Smith. I think you're the only one who's had that issue, Mark, throughout this live stream though. And imagine Springboks versus Fiji, says Denzel. It will certainly be an intriguing game, something that we don't get to see too often if those two sides did go head to head. But I should mention, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are currently on the road to 39,000 subscribers, and we are only 300 and a bit away from reaching that goal. We have got Kerr with it's a new profile picture, Kerr. I almost didn't recognize you. We'll go like this. We will go like this. So the position stat at the moment in this contest, I have it here. 1 moment. There we go. It is currently 54% in favour of England. Territory 51% in favour of Fiji. Although now getting the penalty at scrum time, England looking to add the extra 3 points. And I hope that clears the air. I love the game. Fairness is all important. And Tosa Fiji Tosa says, I was there from Yumi. And whereas Ben Stokes says Themba. He's certainly not playing for England in the rugby, that is for sure. And into the yellow card, says Jody. So yeah, overall for Fiji, they did concede, of course, that one try, but that happened before Vinaya Bossy went off the field. So just giving away the 3 points in the time that they've been down a man. Too many brain dead players. Fijian rugby union team, says Tamasi. I think it's just sometimes getting those tackles slightly wrong. Of course, they want to play a physical game of rugby, which they have been able to do throughout the start of this matchup, but it's just more about making that right decision that doesn't get you that penalty, and think you can add a little yellow or red cards on your scorecard. Says Stefan, sadly on this one, it is an online scoreboard, so I don't have the ability to change anything on there, sorry. But, yeah, yellow card is up now. We will keep you updated with the cards as the game goes on. Come on, Fiji, says Chris Charles. Fiji got this in the pocket. 5 points and nothing. And they got the entire second half to win it, says HR. Great clear and kick there from Alex Mitchell, getting it down towards the halfway line. And Fiji needs to score nets to stay in the game, says Michael Peacock. Marcus Smith there did actually go off the field for the HIA. 5 minutes left in the first half. The Stormers, says Cape Real, of course. The URC coming back very soon. We will be covering that on the channel as well, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new to that channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I think USA is the sleeping giant in the World Rugby. I think if USA hosts a World Cup, could wake up the sleeping giant, says Gary. And they are looking to get that 2031 Rugby World Cup by the sounds of it. Contested in the year between Vinaya Bossi and Johnny May. It's a knock-on from England first. And thank you for this commentary. Always pleasure to listen to you. Then having to read live commentary, says Stefan. And also go England, says Genevieve. And Tuisova is a beast. He certainly is a brilliant player. Viliami Mata, great run through to get himself the try. And also the 2 centres for England, the 2 try scorers in the early stages of the match. Shout out, please. Shout out to the Fijian boys watching from the Solomon Islands, says Kelvin. Yeah, I hope you are doing very well. What's the time in the Solomon Islands, Kelvin? Do let me know. I know that Fiji, I think, are the same time as New Zealand, so it's 4:40 a.m., but I'm not too sure about Solomon Islands time zone. Great commentary, man. Says Shane, thank you very much. And also, please be aware, there are others in the chat. Please easy on the spam to avoid my delicious milky bar Kit Kat, says Blues Nate. And also, hi Hamish, did you sleep in your winning suit, says Peter Williams? I did not. As soon as I got the chance to take the suit off, I did. Mainly because I feel like after that game was over, I just felt like I needed to chill out. But then we actually did a post-match review, and then George and Daniel, a couple of the other Kiwi lads, they actually came round. So I didn't get to sleep till later on, unfortunately. Now nice wide cut-out pass from the midfield to Radradra. I see a Naita Levu trying to join the breakdown to keep the ball alive. Lamani has done very well to keep it on the Fijian side. Now just taking up the hit there. It was a penalty to England, though, in the breakdown. I believe that's against YC and Naita Levu. Are we going to see upsets today as well, says Peter Williams? It's a great question. Both of these Southern Hemisphere sides do come in as underdogs, I should mention. That is including the defending champion South Africa. They come in as $2.10 underdogs in their game up against France. Fiji, they came in as the biggest underdogs in the quarterfinals. Should also mention that the score currently, as it sits, is 18 points to 10. Scoreboard was a little bit behind. Where are the green dots on the tie, says Stan? Well, if they were green, you wouldn't be able to see them because I've got a green screen behind me. So that is why we're going to go with a colour that is not green. For an instance, or an example, here I have a Sprite can. You cannot see much of said Sprite can because it is green. And too many fat and weak players, says Damasi. And Fiji is 1 hour behind because of the daylight saving in New Zealand, says Savito. So yeah, I did see 3:40 a.m. at the moment for the Solomon Islands as well. And I want Fiji to win, but my gut is saying England. And also the only thing that can save France are the refs, says HR. That kick has gone over. And now that will make the score 21 points to 10, slowly extending the lead. And also, that would be cool, says Stan. Unlucky, we don't see a full pick of you, just top half, says Charles. And also England 190 for 8, says Honey. So they've still got quite a bit to go, do they? And there, Jason Eyebrows says the unsocialized Indian, I should say. Welcome in. I hope you are doing very well. Fiji looking to retain. That was close to a knock-on from Courtney Laws. In fact, it was. And now Fiji have got themselves a scrumpy with 2.5 minutes remaining in this first half. And like with England, says James Whedon, I'm in France. This isn't on TV. WGF says Zav. That is very surprising that they aren't showing it. Just going straight through the hands of Courtney Laws. Wasn't actually expecting to have to line that one up. Your mask or use masking and adjust the chroma key. Hamish, says Alan. I'm still not going to wear a green tie. And come on, you beauty, says Edward. And also Fiji says Kiki and England sucks. They can't play rugby. They can only kick, says Herman. Although that's all they've had to do so far throughout this Rugby World Cup to a certain extent. In their first game up against the Argentines, all they had to do was get those 3-pointers over. But the Sprite can on your forehead, I want to see what's in your head, says Justin. I think you'll find there is nothing in there, which is why doing commentary, it is so surprising that I haven't run out of words to say yet. But Naya Bossi now, within the 20 metres, going short side. Off to Lakima, Tangi Valu. Not a huge amount of space to be working with Lavani Botti. A rush defence there from Maro Itoje. And a penalty one for England again. This time it's Ben Earl who manages to get over and get the turnover. Have $5,000 on a Fiji win by more than 7. Just kidding, says Stan. And as I go, Fiji, says Motti. And also, am I the only one who hasn't recovered mentally and emotionally from Ireland's World Cup exit last night, says Sino? I think that game was such a roller coaster of emotions. Like, even if you weren't from New Zealand or Ireland, just the feeling of that match as it went down to the final moments. You get a green tie, Letty, come on. You know you want to, says James. And also, what's your home team? Well, I'm from New Zealand, but as you guys know on these live streams, I am completely impartial for the calling. Like, whichever team's doing well, I'll let you know about it. Whichever team's struggling, I'll let you know about it. And there's a live stream, says Reese. So if you look on the Rugby World Cup website, they'll have an option of where to watch, and you will be able to find it on there. Why are these games not being advertised? Says Superciso. It's kind of weird, isn't it, that at the semi-finals of the World Cup, they still aren't showing footage around the world, which for me seems like a massive marketing opportunity. Gone, massive shot coming in on Elliot Daly there, sitting 22 metres out from the line now for the English, and we have just ticked over to 40 minutes, which does mean if there is a stoppage for a knock-on or anything along those lines, it will be the end of the half. It's kicked in behind. Fiji have to clean that ball up. Anaya Bossi trying to run it out from his in-goal area. That was a very risky tactic. Although now Frank Lamani, he will kick that ball downfield and does put it into touch. Half-time in this contest, 21 points to 10. The 11 points difference between these two sides. Okay, there you must be grateful. You're almost down to the last couple of games. Your voice held up well, says James. It held up a lot better than I thought it would, to be honest, because, yeah, I thought by this stage of the competition I would be running with almost no voice whatsoever, although I will mention anytime I swallow now, it is very painful. And I think that will be the case throughout the rest of today, but hopefully with next weekend only having the 2 matches theoretically, although we are hoping to do some of the URC alongside it, yeah, hopefully it is a little bit better. And also, we were getting exhausted after the game yesterday, says Oleg. And also, England, says Paletta. And there's basically Fiji played heaps of tests as a drawer in in Super Rugby, says Stone Cold. And a hard 40 minutes from Fiji. And I'm not kidding, South Africa players are going to be on tender hooks tonight over DuPont's jaw, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. I'm watching in Gran Canaria, but enjoying this. Thank you, says Stephen. And also, we have got there, my popcorn is finished already, says Biff, and hey, Domingo, stop with the language, says Richard. Where's Domingo? Was he being angry, was he? Okay, so it's a little bit of, was that Afrikaans, if I'm correct, in that regard? And also, did some Northern smartass say this cup represents the end of Southern Hemisphere dominance, says Gail. I mean, there is going to be, of course, like, no matter what, there are going to be people who we're heavily in favour of a certain side, making it far in the competition. They are poor advertised indeed, says Themba. Do you drink any hot beverages like tea and coffee, Hamish? I have never tried coffee and I've never tried tea in my life, believe it or not. Some people think that I'm lying there, but it is true. And Kate bringing the team luck, says Tar. And also will teach you not to do sports betting, donate your money to an orphanage instead, says Joe Money. Yeah, see, for me, like, I would never be able to gamble. Not because, like, I don't agree with it or anything like that. I think if you want to have a cheeky gamble every once in a while, that's fine. But I just suck at predictions. Like, I wouldn't be able to predict anything to do with the rugby. And I do all the commentaries for the matches. So that tells you how unpredictable it can be or just how bad at predicting I am. Amish, get some sherry. Promise you it works. Says Stan. I also have some honey and whiskey. Says Bruce. And also, referee a little poor in this. I think Fiji got penalised for every infringement, but a little turn of the blind eye. Any English collapsing of lineouts and rucks. A score a bit flattery, says Mark Joe. Although that one for Naya Bossi, of course, could have easily been a red card as well, because we have seen them given for less in this Rugby World Cup. So I feel like even though there were quite a few penalties against Fiji, they'll still be happy that they're playing with 15 at the moment on the field. Put me money on England winning the World Cup, says GB. And do not write Fiji off. Yeah, 11 points is not a huge margin. And we've seen sides come back from it a lot more. We know refs always favour Northern Hemisphere, says Chuck T. And also Fiji will never win any championship of sports, says Tamasi. I mean, they've won the Olympic gold medal a couple of times in the sevens. They've won the World Sevens Series as well. So, I mean, that's something, isn't it? We have got there, some people will explode. But that's their passion, says Charles. There was Yako Piper yesterday, but he got injured. Says John, very true. did end up with the injury, so instead Carl Dixon had to take over the refereeing. And we have got there, hey, just waking up, or just woke up from my Sunday afternoon nap, looking sharp as ever, Hammy. Says, Ronald, thank you very much, Ronald. Hugely appreciated. Yeah, Bino, I'm sure you are excited for the game later on tonight between South Africa and France. We will be covering it live on the channel, ladies and gents, and that live stream will be starting in 1 hour and 40 minutes time. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I think this game's running relatively smoothly at the moment in terms of the speed that has been going. And also, always crybabies in chat says, Callum also never ever tried coffee or tea. Hamish, is that true for an adult? How is that true for an adult? No, it's true. Never had the stuff. I don't know why. I feel like it's just I never really, I guess, felt like I needed it. I just had water and I was good to go. And Mugs, game gambling, a great completion, and the best team will win. And also go Fiji second. And also, to be fair, is it fair to have Dupont play? Everyone must be careful due to his surgery. Is that fair, says Judy? I think that for Antoine Dupont, it's definitely going to be a talking point for the French in terms of what he's able to do in this game. Is he going to be hesitant in the way that he plays? They are just showing some of the stats. 349 metres made by the English compared to the 292 of the Fijians. Penalties conceded 5 against England, 6 against Fiji, and then 61 tackles by the English compared to the 54 of the Fijians. 54% possession for England throughout their half, with 51% of the territory going the way of the Fijians. How did Piper get injured? Unfit, says Andrew. No, he just almost got run over. So pretty much he was dodging one of the players charging straight at him. I believe it was the big Argentine forward. He tried to jump to the side and ended up getting hit, or just ended up tweaking his calf muscles. So yeah, ended up going away. I want to watch the game. So if you go onto the Rugby World Cup website, you'll be able to see the where to watch options, which will then tell you exactly where you can find the game depending on whereabouts you are in the world. Will depend, of course, on what you can do. Hamish is going to commentate tonight's game in a Springbok jersey, said Frederick. Although, once again, I've got a green screen, so that would mean that my body was invisible in that case. And go Fiji, leaving nothing unturned. Knockout rugby, no one cares about how you win. You just got to win, says Tuta. And also, we have got there, anyone who tackles the bomb gets a yellow tonight, says Justin. Only if they tackle him high. At the end of the day, all they got to do is just tackle him a little bit lower. We have got there Castle Lager for the Bock. I'm very nervous for our game later. Hammy, you're in for the Bock, says Ronald. Well, of course I am impartial, but I honestly feel like Springboks as the underdog in that game surprises me a little bit. Like, you look through at that French side, though, and you can understand maybe a little bit of why, but I just feel like South Africa, when it comes to the way that they play and the way that they have played, I just feel like they're going to be a hard side to beat. And also, we were there yesterday, you couldn't keep up with the comments, says Denzel. I think even today I'm struggling to keep up with the comments with how quickly the messages have been gone. But for anyone wondering about the leaders in terms of the certain stats in the game, 9 tackles made by Tom Curry, so he is the leading tackler. Owen Farrell has got 11 points on the board, and then 56 metres made by Maro Atoje. That's a little bit of a surprise that he is the leading running man, but that is due to what he was able to do with that line break off his interception. 5 times he's had to carry over the game line, so Maro Atoje actually doing very well throughout the stages of that first half. Hamish sitting on an impartial fence, must be hitting the bum, says bystander. Not as much as this wooden chair is hurting it. I feel like I'm still very close to setting up that next chair. I did get sent one by Kerr, who might still be in the chat. I'm not too sure. It's ridiculous that Dupont is playing considering concussion concerns. This will disrupt South Africa's play, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Although concussion-wise, he's fine. Like, concussion, normally it's 2 weeks that you are out for, which he has been out for longer. And rugby is a physical game. Stop with the wussy ref decisions. Says Charles, and shame on England. They are losing against Afghanistan in the Cricket World Cup. And also we have got our Hamish deep gargle with strong salt water. Stick your tongue out while gargling. Will really help your throat. One of the secrets of public speakers. Says Milan. And do Fiji have a good bench? Well, I will show you exactly who is off the bench for this fixture. Theo Dan and number 16. Joe Marler 17 and Kyle Sinclair will be there as the number 18. Now, the benefit for England so far is I believe they haven't had to make any of their changes as of yet. George Martin at 19 with Billy Vunipola as the number 20. And then Danny Kerr, number 21. George Ford, 22. And Ollie Lawrence at number 23. I think George Ford could be a game changer for the English in the later stages of the contest. Although saying that, Owen Farrell hasn't been too bad so far throughout the first half of this World Cup fixture for Fiji. They've got Sam Matavesi, Penny Ravai, and then the man who has already made his way onto the field, that being Masaki Donge, Meri Derialangi, and Valive Miramira, a couple Fijian drill boys, will be there at 19 and 20. Simeone Kuravuli, Osifu Masi, and Sareli Mangwala, the three men later on in the game, will be hoping to have a real impact. Now, I believe Osifu Masi will probably go into the midfield when he makes his way onto the park. I'm not too sure where they'll put Sareli Mangwala at this stage of the contest, mainly because I feel like Drew Assisi hasn't really done too much wrong, so I don't think they'll take him off too early at all in this game. So maybe in the later stages, they'll look to switch him off just to help at the end. England lost against Afghanistan well after 20 years, says Charles, and also the Fijians are taking it home and just check registered player stats per country. England ranks 3rd and Fiji 6th, and Springboks all the way. Next World Cup will be called Amakosi, says Wayne Fundermerva, and here's a little known treatment. Get some Listerine mouthwash, the strongest one. Gargle in the morning and evening. I promise you it has medicinal properties, I think that was. Yeah, it was from Paul Roy and Kia ora, Hamish. Were you pleasantly surprised that the Kiwi, the All Blacks, won? How far do you think they'll get, says Anofu? They did very well in that game, New Zealand, because they had to. At the end of the day, the Irish were on a massive streak. They've been playing some brilliant rugby throughout this Rugby World Cup. I've said it multiple times. That game could have gone either way between those two sides, but in the end, the New Zealanders just doing enough to make their way through. We have got there, Fiji came for WWE, not rugby, says Denzel, and Springboks all the way, says Vishnu. So like I mentioned, that is going to be 1 hour 30 that we have got till the start of that. Next one, is there a copyright infringement? If you have a little window open on our screen with an actual gameplay, Hamish, there is indeed. So any match footage or audio gets you taken off YouTube for 3 months, which would be a very long holiday for myself, but it would be quite unfortunate if that was the case. And we did end up getting a Holy S. Look at Afghanistan Cricket World Cup, says Bottom in Green. And also tonight, South African, France need to go home, says Krampus. And I brought, also Box versus England in the second semi-final. Yeah, it looks like we could end up seeing a Rugby World Cup rematch of the final from 2019. Tonight's game on SABC+. Says Productivity by Design. SABC seems to be a mixed bag though, doesn't it? Because some people say yes, it's there. Other people say no, it's not there. Which does make it very tricky in terms of when I say to people, hey, SABC, be sure to check it out, it's the way to go. And then other people are like, hey, never mind. And all right, team, let's put the hat around and cover up some cash for Hamish's hard work, says Tony. Thank you very much. I hugely appreciate it. I'm sure you would have been a little bit split, wouldn't you? In terms of that All Blacks versus Ireland game, seeing as you have got, I guess, I was going to say a finger in both pies, but that's not the right term, is it? What's the saying about having a hand in both? No, I don't know. But yeah, it would have been a fun game to watch for you, Tony, but also a very nervous one throughout. As well, speaking of holidays, this is your full-time job. It is not. No, I work as a full-time builder during the week, so I end up doing this on the weekends and also during the week as well, and then doing building during the week in the hours that I have that I'm not editing, uploading, and everything along those lines. So Handsome, says Al-Zaini, and also foot in each camp, says Tania, and also hand in both pockets. And there's what's the score, says Olo. At the moment it is 21 points to 10 at halftime in favour of the English. 2 tries being scored so far to Alangi and Marchant getting themselves the 2 there. We have got 10 pounds as well from Kerr saying, yeah, fair point, Tony. That's the cruise ship, isn't it, Kerr? That beautiful picture you have got there. Bob the Builder, says Michael. And Afghanistan needs 72 off 60 balls to beat England. And also sitting ass down on the fence, says Stan. And also hand in both camps. Or foot in both camps, sorry. I was sweating bullets, says Distracted Sports. Yeah, those last moments were just brutal for both of the sides. Like, either side could have easily got themselves over the line, but the ABC did enough. Just SABC only works on Android or Hisense TV, not a decoder on or OVHD. England just lost to Afghanistan, says Tanya C. And good man Kerr, who's paying next, says Tony there. A multi-choice are not giving us enough rights, says Alan. Sorry, I've only got who can win, England or Fiji, rather than a few other options, don't I? But now the second half just about to take place, ladies and gentlemen. They are just showing the highlights of that Viliami Mata first try that we did see. And also here, they like tacos, says Pro, and also that is interesting. Builder and commentator, hats off, says Regine. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird combo, to be honest, but yeah, it's normally pretty brutal in between the World Cup, but once we're back to a Southern Hemisphere time zone, it'll be a little bit easier. On the body, what temperature is it? Says Stephen. At the ground, it was 25 degrees. Here it is 3 degrees Celsius, so a little bit chillier. Where I am, damn, what was I watching? Afghanistan 1. Says, I was here, Marnie Libok needs to pull the socks up. Says, Denzel and rugby is definitely not for the fans who have heart conditions. Says, Sino T. And I like tacos. Says Pro Fortnite. I don't think I've had a taco in about a decade. Which is quite surprising, I guess, but yeah, I can't remember the last taco that I had. And that's not like an innuendo, by the way. Which is better, cricket or rugby? Depends what you like better. But I mean, I play cricket in real life, but then I commentate rugby more. Although after the way our last game went for cricket, I would say rugby would be better because I struggled a bit. We were playing on a grassy surface that was, you guys probably don't care, so I won't go into information about the pitch. And no tea, no coffee, no tacos for a decade, says Sino T. I'm looking forward to the second half, waiting for Fiji to go balls to the walls. Tacos are overrated, says Sir Michael on rugby, of course. Says Chucky T. Or sorry, Chuck T rather than Chucky T. And Arahanui Cuz says Blues Nate. To Tony, I like pizza, says Bro. I haven't had a pizza in like 4 months as well. I don't know what's been going on, but I feel like after this World Cup, I'm just going to find the biggest pizza I can find. Why would you play cricket when you could be playing rugby? Says Lord Inquisitor. I feel like it should be obvious, but look at me. I'm not exactly built for rugby. You know, I used to be out on the wing because I was one of the smaller kids. And now, like, if I went to the local game and said, oh, could I play some rugby, please? The smallest player on the main team, or even on the secondary team, I believe weighs about 105 kgs, somewhere around there, which is about 1.5 of me. So I don't think I'd go that well. I think I'd just get snapped in half, which wouldn't be ideal. Now rolling the ball back, second half underway, ladies and gents. We've got a gifted membership from Kura as well, ladies and gents. And the winner of that gifted membership, we are about to find out. It was Justin Case, who is now a channel member from Kura. Thank you very much, Kura. Hugely appreciate it, mate. Afghanistan beat England by 69 runs. And, mate, it sounds like you need to find some fun in your life. Says Paul Roy. I think I have already way too much fun, to be honest. Like, I feel like overall, there isn't much time that I'm not excited about what I'm doing. Which I feel like got really deep for a second there. But, nah, it's pretty awesome being able to do the commentary alongside doing the building and the cricket. Do a bit of fishing as well. Give a bit of that. I always suck, but we try our hardest. Springboks have been hurting their opponents, says Nate. Your batsman, bowler, all-rounder, Hamish, says Michael. I would say all-rounder, but they don't seem to want to bowl me, which is very annoying. I've got there anyone else in Ukraine watching this commentary, says Colin Wood. And SABC had the right for only 2 quarterfinal games, says Hannes. And that's also mate, says Paul Roy. And whoever gifted me free membership last night, if you're here again, I say thank you, says Sino T. But now line-out throw for the Fijians, nicely taken. Maybe dragged down a little bit too early there from England, but Maro Atoje has done very well there. Tavita Ikanaveri goes off to Lamani. Now Vinaya Bossi starts the driver's legs, but he has been taken down and actually stripped ball from Owen Farrell there for the English. I love fishing, says Claire. What is your best 100-metre times, says Michael? Well, the best time that I had in 100 metres, I don't even know if I've done 100 metres in about a decade or maybe even longer. The last time I did 100 metres, I probably was still eating tacos. So that was a while ago. Cricket was a beautiful game, and then Hansi stole the fun out of it, says Starlin. I love pineapple on pizza, juicy drips down your chin, says Xander. And now kick deep. Fiji taking it nicely. Lamani slinging it off now. We're starting to see this Fijian backline get a little bit more opportunity. Marcus Smith fell on the wrong side there, but manages to get out of the breakdown before getting penalised. Joshua Tuisova, we don't see him kick too often, but he puts it down the middle of the field, cleaned up by Mitchell, who was waiting at the back for the English. Now Farrell with the up and under. He is chasing after his own kick here. In fact, it's drifted sideways. Farrell tackles Radradra on the chin. I think Radradra was looking to the referee asking whether or not it was going to be a penalty. Ref for now says no, it's going to be kicked high again by the Flying Fijians. Taking at the back. Now Marcus Smith goes across to Ben Earl. By the sounds of it, the TMO, we're actually going to be checking that to see whether or not, tell you what, Radradra's done well to get back to his feet and clean that one up because he was injured. Got straight back up though as he saw that there was the opportunity for England to counter-attack. Now on the halfway line, Elliot Daly steps around the tackle attempt of Viliami Mata, but he's taken down by Habosi. Face play from both of these sides. No one really dropping the ball, instead just taking up the contact. And that is going to be now the penalty to England for it going down. As Jack can go to heck, now I want pizza, says Sonny. And I was working there, Krampus looking for a YouTube strike, and also Krampus not cool, bro. What did Krampus do? Where is he? He's probably going to get himself timed out. Not by me, but probably one of the moderators will give Krampus a much needed rest, I would say. And also, I wish I could order some pizza now, but it's 5 in the morning, says Sai. I don't know who's hungry, but I'm eating biryani now at the moment, says Alan, but it was just unlucky for Fiji. They were looking for that turnover, and England have decided to put that one into touch. Now rolling maul for the English once more. There's not Olympics Fiji. Transpire to within a couple metres, but Fiji stopped the rolling maul once more. No penalty advantage. That ball is unavailable. And the Fijians will get the scrum now. Oh, we have good there. Why can't England have 3 red cards? Oh, Lamani. Ellis Genn still hanging on to him. Still won't let him down. And it's a penalty now in favour. He slapped him, says one of the English players. Okay, Ellis Genn just saying he got slapped in the face. So that is why he was hanging on to him. I deleted comment already. Says Kerr there, and I like bread between my toes. That's a weird place to put bread, but each to their own, I guess. Okay, no foul play, they have said, in terms of Owen Farrell's shot on Semi Radradra. And Slap says Lord Inquisitor. So yeah, by the sounds of it, Ellis Genn, he was hanging on to Lamani. So then Lavani must have slapped him. And then Ellis Genn just kept on hanging on to him. Then kept on hanging on to him. Then kept on hanging on to him. So then from there, the penalty or the line out, the scrum got upgraded to a penalty. No shame. He should have used a glove to slap him, says Charles. And also, keep my manager's name out your mouth, said Lord Inquisitor. It looks like there is going to be the change now of Vinaya Habosi making his way from the field. That is actually going to be for Sareli Mangwala, which is interesting because I did predict in this game that they would consider Mangwala as a 14 option. And by the looks of it now, he might actually find himself in that right wing position. Little chip in behind. Well cleaned up by Lavani Bortia. He'll go for the kick himself. Little bit of a deflection. Now Elliot Daly fires it back across into the midfield. Marcus Smith goes to Marchin, who has already scored 1 try for the English at this point. Hamish, where did you say the other Kiwi lads are again, since your channel is called Kiwi Lads? I think you've answered this before, says CNOT. So there are 4 of us. The other lads, 2 of the 3 of them do still live in the same area, and 2 out of the 3 of them actually came around yesterday afternoon. But we haven't had the channel, I haven't had them on the channel for a little while, which of course we will want to change in the near future. We've got a few videos planned, but Kiwi Lads Entertainment, if you want to see one of the other guys, that would be George. He has been on those videos quite a bit. He actually edits all of them on that channel, and I am in them as well. So be sure to check that out. If you want to see a bit more of the other lads, that's going to be a counteract from England. Doesn't work out for Johnny May. Now off to the right-hand side, Albert Tuisue. We haven't seen a huge amount of him running with the ball in hand throughout the first 47 minutes. Now Lamani looking here, get this ball nice and high. Marcus Smith lining it up. Takes it 40 metres out from his line. If England get themselves another try here, it may almost be enough. Oh, Fiji have made the mistake. And it's gone out on the full. One of the players have taken out, I believe that's one of the ball girls. She's got back up. She has probably taken the hit from a Fijian better than some of the other English players out there on the park. She did not see him coming, that is for sure. But I'm glad to see that she's all right. Kicked out on the full by Owen Farrell, though. Big mistake made for the English, and now Fiji claiming it. On off to the left-hand side. Tuisova, inside ball. Nice work to Sareli Mangwala, who passes a one more to Radradra, carving back in towards some of the other players. Goes head-to-head within the Gallagher Premiership. Now, Lamani, there was a hesitancy about it because of the dummy run that came through from Fiji. There was a knock on as well, though, so they will go back for the scrum feed. Hi, Hamish. Oh, hi, all. Sorry I'm late, but I could hear on the dish while in the shower. But I need to get with all of yous. Hamish, hope you enjoyed the victory so far, says Chloe. And there, yeah, I'm hoping that this game will be just as close as that New Zealand versus Ireland game. Although if it was, I would be very nervous right to the final whistle, of course. We have some beautiful women for Hamish. Says Hannes in there. I did see that someone said that they were going to try and set me up with a South African lady friend. And Aaron Smith got a yellow last night for the exact thing as what England did, says Mr. Kiwi for life. Although for Tom Curry, he got both hands to the ball, which was the difference and the decision of why it was a knock-on rather than a deliberate knockdown. And Ireland standing together strong, shoulder to shoulder. We're coming home today, says Tuti, and also come on Fiji, says Stephen Archer, who smacked who. So Ellis Genge was hanging on to Lamani, so Lamani smacked Genge. Fiji are just bullies, slapping the palms, are running over their women, says David Vickers. I think you'll find that the one on the touchline was actually a Fijian girl who got run over, rather than an English one. We have what happened to Harlem Globetrotters, says Fire 2. I have no idea, to be honest. The Kiwi lads is dressed up. Nay, says Cobus. And also the moderators will kick you off, says Ronald. And also I said it, and I bear the gifts that I have promised you, says Domingo. And Finesse, says Fire 2. Also, we got there, do you think the Springboks can win from Michael? It's going to be a good game, that is for sure. But I honestly feel like the Springboks, being as big of an underdog as they are, that'll just fuel them that little bit more. YC at the level now finding off the development about T2, trying to go over the top of Alex Mitchell. Ball pops out this side, and Courtney Laws gets down and steals that ball back for the English. Now, because it popped out the side, that is why he is allowed to leave his feet in the process of getting it. Now, Alice Genge. Missed tackle there from a side. Oh no, I saw Silla still slightly hung on to his foot. We'll give them appearance of palms. Anyone who slaps a palm is probably a good dude, says David. And South Africa going to win, says the girl YouTube. It's kicked high and long from England, finding the touchline. Fiji considered taking it quickly, but they decide against it now. And also we have got there Christopher has been spoken some baguettes. And also Vamos Flying Fijians and Globetrotters ended because of TikTok. Loads of showboating on the site. Fiji are really bad. They always lose the ball with stupid errors. And also, we have got, it's going to be a very tight game against the French. It will take a moment of brilliance to break the dreadlock that will win it, says Cited. Now rolling more once again. In fact, I think that's a turnover for Maro Atoja. He is probably a man of the match performer at the moment. Ziwi, see what channel can I watch on? So depending on whereabouts you are in the world will depend on your options. But if you're on the Rugby World Cup website, there is a tab that says where to watch, and then that will tell you exactly where you can find this game, because there are a few options around that you will be able to use. We have got there, French is a home side box, knocked the ball on, and as slow says Renegade in Afghanistan have just beaten England in the Cricket World Cup. Going off to the side. And tomorrow South Africa will hang over or be hung over from the brandy and cokes. And also say hi to Nancy, Welsh girl, young, free, and almost. What do you mean almost single? Well, hello Nancy, hope you are doing very well. How do you become almost single? Is that like when you're just about to be single, I guess? Yeah, no, yeah, mate. Lots of baguettes, says Christopher. And we're going to watch the game, says Resonator. So yeah, if you go on the Rugby World Cup website, that will be your best bet of working out exactly where you can find the game. Now nicely taken by Maro Atoje at line-out time. Owen Farrell inside ball to Elliot Daly. England now within the 5 metres of the try line. I mentioned if they score one more time, could be possibly The end of the game for the Fijians, but they don't want to give up. They want to keep defending. Marcus Smith lined up. Boy, was he slaughtered in that challenge, but it will be the penalty for offside. Boyfriend is on life support, says Kerr. I guess on the technicality, that would be a correct statement, wouldn't it? Hamish, how do you know Afrikaans? Says Claire, because I have had quite a few people either swear at me in Afrikaans on these live streams or talk in Afrikaans as well. And that English player looked like he wanted to dick the linesman. Says JP, looks like England will be taking on the shot choice here. That will give them a 14-point lead or 2 converted tries as another way of looking at it. Fiji running out of time, says Xander. And also a boring game going for a net, says Joe Monty. And sweating here, girlfriend has the fan, says Stephen Archer. England must suck. I'm reading a lot of cricket info, says Tutu, and come on England. And Fiji, pull your socks up and start playing the game, says Buffalo. And there as well, maybe the boyfriend needs new batteries, says Kerr. You think he needs the recharge? On Farrell, though, he'll want to make sure he gets this kick over within the allocated time. Doesn't take a lot of it and does now get that kick over. 24 points to 10. If anyone swears, email Hamish. They should be blocked. Are you going to do the Springbok game? We certainly are. We are starting that one actually 90 minutes before kickoff, as we have got so much to talk about when it comes to that side. Have you ever kissed your granny? She put her tongue in your mouth. I have to say no, Ian. But I know that you said that you were going to tell me a story about your granny earlier on, so I don't know if that's an experience you have had. But unlucky, I guess. And why unnecessary language, says Pieter. And also, speaking of Afrikaans, you mean, says Luke. And also, we have got there who swore at you in Afrikaans. I've probably had over 1,000 people abuse me in Afrikaans throughout this channel's lifespan, so quite a few. And also, see it, all the humorous suspects are back, says Leon. And also, it's good for cricket if India, Australia, and England lose in green and gold for the Golden Cup. Now going to the left-hand side, England 45 metres out from their line with that 14-point lead. And also some of his Afrikaners really enjoy your commentary, Hamish. Looks like you can do it with a smoothie, says Francois. So it's going to be put high. No one quite claiming that one under the high ball. And now I think it's going to be an English line-out. Game over for Fiji, says Renegade. And also Hamish definitely understands Afrikaans. He pronounces words even correctly. I saw people being rude in South Africa versus Ireland game was embarrassing for us in South Africa. So sorry, Hamish, says James Livingston. And also, don't worry, Hamish, your commentary is good, says Rudy. Oh, I want to check this one. Or maybe just half a finger to it from Eliza Drosisi. In fact, it's going to be Fiji ball. It did not hit the finger of the fullback. And also, we're not abusing you. In Afrikaans, we love you, says Joden. And also, it means if you're interested, then she is single, says Andre there. And how long to go on this game? Still 25 minutes remaining between these two sides, ladies and gents. Matavisi throwing it into the front to Asona Silasila. Now, Fiji would need 2 converted tries and something to be able to walk away with the victory here. But first of all, they need to get this backline firing. Lamani. In fact, it's Kuravuli, my apologies. They've actually made that change. Penny Ravai also onto the field for the Fijians. Close to the turnover for England in the breakdown, which has been somewhere that they are looking to be a little bit more aggressive throughout this game. I apologise for the rude South Africans. It just makes me so angry. Says Marina. I also try to speak Afrikaans. Says it was there from Marie. Now, Elliot Daly having to step around Viliami Mata. Gets it to Farrell. Back to Smith. Running out of space now, but he has almost pierced his way straight through. Tackled by Masaki Donge. Now, Mitchell, he's got 2 options. Can either go to those forwards or get it back to Farrell, who was waiting in the pocket, and I believe they will go to Farrell now this time. Look at there, Johnny May has done well in this World Cup so far, says Brian. It'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward, though, for England, because they've got the likes of a Harry Arundel, who managed to get himself 5 tries in his first game, but it seems like maybe that is the only time that we are actually going to get to see Harry Arundel, or, just Arundel. And this one, is he Harry or Henry? I think it's Henry. No, it's Harry. I'm thinking of Harry Thacker as well, which might be confusing me. Is it Henry or Harry Arundel? I think it's Harry. and Hamish. Years ago in South Africa, we only had very good commentators on the radio. It was the best ever, says Stal now. YC Naita Levu. Sitting 45 metres out, Fiji, penalised again, so it is Henry. So I was thinking Harry Thacker, Henry Arundel. Getting them round the wrong way. Hamish and chat, are we worried about you? You're the lucky charm. And typical Fiji stars, says Cedric. And what is Fiji doing? This is not the Fiji we know from the group stages, says and although unfortunately the last 2 games for Fiji, to be honest, it kind of is. Because they did struggle in terms of that discipline up against the Portuguese as well as the Georgians. They've seen accidental push from Tuisova. English player Johnny May did go pretty easily down to the turf, but it is now going to be another kickable 3 for Owen Farrell, which would give them a 17-point lead in this contest. How many points does Fiji need to win? They still need another 15 points, perhaps even 19 if this kick goes over. We love your commentary, Hamish, says Michael. Thank you very much. It is Henry Arundel, correct, says Regan. And sorry about the Afrikaans abuse, Hamish. There are lots of Afrikaners with a bad manners, says Milan. I mean, at this stage, I'm kind of used to it. Like, I've probably been sworn at in over 50 different languages. Or maybe not 50, maybe like 25, which is pretty impressive. We have got the Hamish big in Argentina, says Claudio. And of course, the game taking place very soon. Semi-final between New Zealand and Argentina should be an absolutely awesome one. I can almost leave the stream and go for dinner, game over, says James there. And Fiji should wake up, says Eric. And same thing happened on England's side. No penalties, says the New Age. Now lining up this kick. And it has just gone short. Owen Farrell not having the distance. Now I see a Naita Levu. Charges up to 22 metres out. Tuolangi manages to make that important tackle. Now Drua Sisi has so many numbers to his left, but he wants to run it himself. And now England get the turnover once more. That was bad decision making from Drua Sisi. Ended up giving up the ball. Now Mitchell tries to go himself. He is tackled well, and Sorelli Manwala gets over the ball. The penalty this time goes to the Fijians. Already suspensions carried over from the quarters to the semi. Oh, bit of push and shove. Lavani Botia and Tom Curry with a bit of back and forth there. Trying to defuse it by the looks of it. A lot of people fired up. And what is the time on the clock, guys, says Lord Inquisitor. At the moment, it is sitting 59 minutes in to this contest. And one of these times, Penny will get a gift of membership, says Kern. Thanks for the beautiful commentary. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. This game, there's starting to be a little bit more tension by the looks of it. Both sides on edge, I think is the best way of describing it. A proud Zulu commentator, says Eric. And you're a good commentator, says Bro. So, yeah, it was actually Lavani Botia who looked like he was ready to throw hands if he had to. Pushes Tom Curry in the face as well, which, of course, the English crowd are not too happy about. But I think it's just going to end up as the penalty to Fiji as it was. And probably some of those watching your stream do not understand that you are not the ref, says Milan. And also coming back soon, says Claire and I, says thanks. And yeah, welcome, and I hope you are doing extremely well. Should mention, ladies and gentlemen, we are only about an hour and 5 minutes away from our commentary starting for South Africa versus France. Now, if you are new to that channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's going to be an absolutely awesome one to commentate that matchup. We did have a gifted membership from Kerr as well, and the person who got it was Lord Inquisitor Vex. Does receive that membership. And there as well. And also, I don't think the Afrikaners are swearing at Hamish. Are they only using the only language to express themselves? No, sometimes they have actually said, like, my name as well and then put the swear words, which is how I know that it's not so much at the game, but more at me. Now, Villamoribo T2, nice attack and run from Drua Sisi. They are 22 metres out from the line, looking for that little pop pass, but it is a knock-on from Fiji. And also, winner South Africa versus the French. It is going to be taking place in 2 hours, 30 minutes, but we are starting a whole hour 30 before that game because we've got a lot to talk about from these quarterfinals. So be sure to pop in nice and early. So we will be talking all throughout that build up. And how does this thing of gifting people with memberships work? To be honest, I am really not schooled up on YouTube, but I know that pretty much when you sign up as a member, or you can join as a member, or you can gift a membership, and pretty much it will select a random person in the chat who does get that membership from Kerr. He's just done it again as an example. So as you can see, gifted 1 membership from the man himself, Kerr. Then from here we check, and it was Habby Home who does get the gifted membership. That is a name that we haven't seen too much of. So Habby Home, you now have access to exclusive emojis, so be sure to give them a bit of a use. Okay, Afrikaans swearing is the most descriptive you will ever get. You get make a clean, where'd that go? Make a clean sweep, and that person will still leave feeling good. And I was like, nah, mate, you're well neutral. And a great commentator, producer, you're the man, South Africans love you, dude, says Captain Kremen. Of course, we have got the URC in the near future, ladies and gents, and we are going to be covering those games with the Bulls, the Sharks, the Stormers. I believe that starts up next week as well. And also, Hamish, just make your dough, says John. Now I just want pizza because I thought of pizza dough from that statement. Another gifted, well, in fact, 5 gifted memberships from Kerr, ladies and gents. That's a big scrum from England, and they will get themselves another scrum penalty. So the 5 new members are James Livingston, Bruce, also it is Tariu, and also 3 Ronan and Yvonne was gifted a membership from Kerr as well, ladies and gents. You do you, bro, says CEO. And if it works anything like Twitch, then people that aren't even watching right now can get the gifted sub, says Shauno. I think you have to be on the stream that I know of to be able to get that one of the gifted membership. Kerr is so generous. He certainly is. He's a very generous individual, Kerr. The main sponsor of the channel, I guess you could say, throughout this Rugby World Cup. This channel, it's been a lifesaver for this World Cup for me. Thank you for the thoughtful gift, says James. And also, Hamish, how far away from the 100k mark in the subscribers? We are still a little way to go, but we are getting close to 39,000. So if you do want to help us out there, be sure to hit that subscribe button now. Free kick actually going the way. In fact, penalty going against Kyle Sinclair at line-out time. Now Fiji will be kicking this one for the corner, and you, man. And also, we have got the high says Cornelius. Welcome in, Marcus Smith. Not interested to change his bloody shirt at half-time. And Fiji is actually playing against 16. Says Charles, and handing out membership like their candy, says Hennies. Is the score correct? It certainly is. We are 62.5 minutes through in this contest. Thrown in, Mary Derialangi claims for Fiji. Kuravuli does well. Another 5 gifted memberships from Kerr as well. We will find out exactly who has got those in a very short moment. And dough and money, says John there. Well, as you guys know, as I always say, any money made from the channel goes straight back into the channel. The next thing we're looking at is a better desk, because this one is almost falling apart as we currently sit. So that'll be the next upgrade. And also a chair, but I've got a chair. But yeah, we'll see how we go. We'll see what the budget allows for. We got a donation from Franz Smith as well. Pizza money for the guy in the Long Point College shirt, says Franz. Thank you very much, mate. Fiji into the 22 now. Penalty advantage for not rolling away. That is against Kyle Sinclair, who has been heavily penalised since making his way onto the field. Wide cut-out pass for Waisia. Naya Talevu. Ankles taken out from underneath him. 5 metres from the line. Fiji looking to get back into this contest now. Big run from Ronnie Maui. In fact, it's going to be instead Penny Rabbi, who goes over the try line, scores for the Fijians. They have not quite given up in this contest as of yet. 63 minutes in. The late comeback has begun for their Flying Fijians. It was a nice cutout pass. The initial bit of work from Sorali Mawala, that is why we thought he should be somewhere in this 23. And then why see a night the lever to get back up to his feet rather than just collapsing. And then found that ball to a Ronnie Maui, the big man. Perfect pass from Kuravuli straight through the gap there for the Fijians. So the 5 gifted memberships as well, I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, from Kerr. They did go to Moof. They went to the Mr. Punisher. Vishal got a gifted membership. I'm sure he'll be very happy about that. And also Lord Inquisitor had already had one. Gino got one as well. And also DR was the other man. But the kick is good from the Fijians, now making this game only a 7-point difference between the two. And also we have got 5 more gifted memberships from Kerr, ladies and gents. Which is Eben, Gialine, also Tissi, Grant, and Peter Lowe. I feel like Kerr's going to keep on going till he gets the membership gifted that he wants, which of course is his friend in the chat. We've got there, you got the tie on against the girl, you two. We certainly do, but that kick from Fiji could be an absolutely crucial one. And 7 points to get to a penalty shootout or extra time. Do we decide so? It would be extra time. Semi Radradra breaking the line now, moving up to the halfway line. It's as if Fiji, with the subs that they have made, have now found the momentum that they need. Penny Ravai running onto that ball brilliantly again from Kuravoli. Courtney Laws gives away the penalty advantage in the breakdown. Vilimoni Botito. Oh, he's taking a dive there, but they will go back for the original penalty in favour of the Fijians. Yeah, I think everyone's realised Vilimoni Botito did not get hit too hard there. What happens if this game is a draw? We will go to golden point time. Or sorry, extra time, and then I think it goes to goal. Oh, sorry, golden point is extra time, my apologies. For the cool dude doing the commentary. Says Ronald, thank you very much. Hugely appreciated, Ronald. Oh, he took a bit of a shot, but still probably not as much as we would have expected. I want one, says James, and also the Halloween emojis from Evan. We're almost at Halloween, ladies and gents. It's like 2 weeks away. I did not realise we were at this stage of the year. Even though I knew it was October, I didn't realise we were almost at Halloween, though. Marcus Smith does look like he's had a pretty rough day at the office. And we have got there, you're all welcome. Please remember to hit that like button, says Kerr. Looks like the penalty. Fiji actually lining up the 3 points here rather than the try. How many messages go through this channel? Says Andre, we get a lot of messages on the chat each and every live stream, which makes it very hard to be able to follow at times, but I do try my best to read out as many as I can. Kuravoli, he was safe in the last game. He has missed the kick there, though. And now Fiji, were they taken out in the air? Malitiri Alangi hit extremely hard. Soreli Mangwala looking for the run, but he is tackled by Joe Marler. And also, we've got our Hamish, the emphasis on the E for her name. So try Ronald or Renell. Renell. Oh, I know a Renell. I went to school with a Renell. Is that how you'd say it? And also, delayed commentary. Fiji just scored a few minutes back before you called it. Says Saltu, so you would have known that it was coming up. It's good news. Nah, it's just because I'm on Sky and it's a little bit slower. How do I know I'm a member? Says Stan, you've got the little green mark next to your name. Or the little emoji thingy with the TKL. Now, Simeone Kuravoli lined up there. Fiji having to go backwards to go forwards here. Manitualangi tackling his opposite number, Joshua Tuisova. Why not go for the try, says Toby. I think that they were hoping to close that gap there a little bit more so that Fiji could score near the end of the game, perhaps. And now, another penalty advantage. Now, Silla goes through. He's got the passing option. And Vilimoni Botito scores again for Fiji. They are now going to be even with the English with 12 minutes to go. The late comeback. I mentioned last time that it had started, and it seems like it's not over yet for the Flying Fijians. Vilimoni Botito scoring in the 68th minute. Semi Radradra, brilliant bit of work from him again. But Fiji, they seem like they've still got a little bit more left in the gas tank as we go that little bit further in the comp. Let's go, says Leon Atosso. Says it was there from Gus. Fixed, says Mark Smith. And also pronounced Ronell, says Bruce. And also, Hamish, did I mention my bet was England winning at halftime, Fiji taking the game, says Kerr. And also absolutely, or looking great, Hamish. I just tuned into this absolutely humdinger of a game. Look at Fiji, beautiful. And also, go the south, says JP. So the kick from Kuravoli will be straight out in front of the post. So should be a certainty to go over here. And that will make the score 24-24 with 11 minutes remaining. We had a close game last night between Ireland and New Zealand. The game before that between Argentina and Wales, it was relatively close to a certain extent. But now this one is going down to the wire once more. I should be a commentator for rugby. Was there from, it was Takes. Thank you very much. A great channel, Kiwi Lad, always keeping us up to speed on the game, says Gareth. So anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently only 60 away from hitting 38,800. So if you do want to hit that button, it is greatly appreciated. We will be back, of course, for the rest of the games of the Rugby World Cup. Now Fiji with 10 minutes remaining. Have you heard the rumours that rugby is dead in the Southern Hemisphere? So funny. Says Dave L. Going to be kicked high. In fact, partially charged down by England, so they do have to keep this one in the field of play. Now Marcus Smith on the short side. Tackled by Semir Radradra, another New Jersey due to the blood that he did have on the front. Now short ball almost intercepted from Soreli Mangwala, but it is nicely claimed by Courtney Laws. Albert Tuisue looking for the turnover, not quite for Fiji. Low tackle made by Soreli Mangwala. Now around the side, Ben Earl starts to drive. He's gone over the top of Kuruvili. England with another chance here to take the lead. Going to the left-hand side. Short pass should have gone from Manu Tuolangi, but he goes himself. Now 3 metres out from the try line. I should mention Danny Kerr is also on the field now for the English. The Harlequins players all linking up here with Kerr going to Joe Marler. 2 metres still between the English and the try line. What happens when there's a draw at the final whistle? It would go to golden point time or extra time in this case. Now Danny Kerr back to Farrell. Marcus Smith steps and is smashed in his midsection. That man might not be walking by the time we get to the semi-finals with the amount of big hits he has taken throughout this contest. But he is young, he's resilient. Keeps on getting back to his feet. Maro Itoje. He's had a phenomenal game so far for the English. Back into the pocket. Drop kick for the English. They'll take it. And that will give them the 3-point lead now. 27 points to 24. We saw the English drop kicks all throughout their first game up against the Argentines. And perhaps this might be the most crucial time that they could have used one. Hey, thank you. Says Shay in there. Kerr has once again gifted 5 more subs on the channel. We will go like this, and we will go like that. So the 5 new subs are Shauno, Shay, Marina already had one, Alshon, and also Patrick Brady and Sharon, the other one who did receive the gifted membership. And also, Bryce have been paid England to win, says Domingo, and have to draw the extra 10 minutes until a winner. Yeah. So there is a chance we go down to that. At this stage, it is sitting very close in this game. Now, Eliza Druasisi making his way from the field. Now, I will mention Sefomasi come on to the field now in this later stage of the contest. A good opportunity for him. Hay fever sucks. Good on you, Kerr. Says Ronald. Oh, sorry, Ronald, I should say. Or Ronal. Almost got there in the end. Almost out on the full. England, though, they touch that ball before it goes into touch, and it will be a Fiji line out. Just out, or just inside of the English 22. But Courtney Laws, no space to work with. Foot on the touchline. Well spotted by the assistant referee. And now Sam Matavisi to get this line out straight. Could be the most important one throughout his whole Rugby World Cup campaign. Looks like Masaki Donge, he knows what call he wants. Fiji did have to take that line out when they did, or else they would have possibly got a free kick against them for huddling. That is a rule that they enforced for about a week, and then it kind of disappeared. And what is the score at the moment? It is 27 points to 24. It's a knock-on, though, from Fiji. And I hope you're sporting a cushion on that wooden chair. There's like it's about that thick, I'd say, this cushion that is on there. How long to play? Only 7 minutes now remaining. But one thing is for sure, this has been a great game between these two sides in terms of how close it has been. And Southern Hemisphere Rugby still strong, says Kingsley, and adjust the scoreboard, says Joden. And there in 6 minutes left, says Wise One. And WCOM comeback, says Josefa. And the chat as well. But Billy Vunipola has now made his way onto the field as well for the English. That is going to be for Tom Curry, who is limping his way from the field. He's had a few penalties against him in this game, Tom Curry, so he might be a little bit disappointed with what he has done, but he's still put in a relatively big shift. One moment, I'm going to sneeze very quickly again. We are back. We have got Go Fiji, says Vanessa May. Is that a hint for a new cushion, says Charles? Maybe. I feel like rather than a new cushion, though, I think I'll just change the chair. I have got a chair in a box that I will have to set up. Blessings, Hamish. Says Chloe there in Fiji from Sino. But the big scrumpy from England trying to push the Fijians backwards. Although Fiji have folded the English, but they will go back for another scrum reset. That was very close to the Fijians actually getting themselves the penalty in that case. There's the ball right now, says Josefa. At the moment, England do. They are only 20 metres out from their own line with that lead of 3. It's clearly taken out in the air there. And I went the other way in the line out, says Mark Joe. Thank you so much, Hamish, says Amelia. And the spirit of Johnny Wilkinson has never left this English team drop goals out of nowhere. And yeah, that now takes their tally up to 4 drop goals throughout this Rugby World Cup competition. A lot higher than they probably anticipated at the start of the comp. But it's a tactic that has proven effective at the moment for the Fijians. Let's see if Fiji can get another score. Says Stephen Archer there. One more. You can do it, Fiji. And England is winning this now. Oh, this one, no Fiji, says Lipanesa. And I think it's one of those games that can easily go either way at this stage of the comp. Or at this stage of the match as well. Danny Kerr asking for a penalty. Doesn't receive it. Instead, Billy Vunapola now running off the back of the scrum. Botitu. And also Lavani Botia trying to get into that breakdown. Can I get a shout out, please? Says Sleepy Drift, shout out to you. And also Hamish, it's fantastic, fabulous commentary king. Says Revan Go Fiji. Says Mike C now, England rolling it back. They've got 5 minutes now remaining on the clock here. Kicked into touch by Danny Kerr. And Fiji still have got themselves a little bit more of an opportunity in this matchup. Now, I should mention anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 38,800. We've got 5 gifted members from Jimbo as well. At the moment, him and Kerr have been gifting so many times throughout this Rugby World Cup. So it is greatly appreciated, Jimbo. The 5 who got it was Connor in there. Also, another gifted one for the House of Emery's. Amelia K got a gifted membership. Sleepy got one too. And then the last gifted one went to X to Doubt. But now England steal the ball. Line break opportunity here for Ben Earl, who is slammed down to the turf. Only 20 metres out from the line now. Advantage against Fiji for leaving their feet in the breakdown. Danny Kerr trying with the sniping run now for Fiji. They need to get this ball back as soon as possible. Off feet. Penalty goes against them, but that is actually ideal for Fiji because the longer England put phase to phase to phase together, that was going to be costing them time that they may need to use to score themselves a try. But England, they are currently ahead by 3. They will take on the 3 points here more than likely so that they can look to get themselves ahead by 6. Although that would not mean that the game is done as of yet. A very easy of England, never in doubt, says James. I would disagree. I mean, it's still only a 3-point difference, becoming 6 in this very short moment. Oh, hi, Hamish, my friend, says Dion, welcome in. And Aussie got this. Fiji says Elementrix, or Elementonics, I should say, sorry. And also France in the box will be a massive game, says Renegade. It certainly will be. Come on, Fiji, says Susanna. And trust England. And also Fiji, says Anori. And I was kidding, says James. And if they win or lose, they'll still be whinging. Says Philip, and Fiji is not good, says Louis. I mean, they've played a lot better than a lot of people would have given Fiji credit for in this game. And their comeback in that second half was quite impeccable, but still 3 minutes remaining. Owen Farrell now will be lining up this kick. I think English boys are going to get a few French birds tonight. Says Arthur, I agree, Hamish. Look what happened with Fiji on the last game, and all games so far have been close in the quarters. Come on, Fiji, it's not over yet, and that kick has gone over, ladies and gents. So now 30 points to 24 with 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Fiji Tosso says Sainamili, and they are losing, says it was there from Louis, although they are only down by 6, which means if there is going to be a last minute try, Fiji, they've knocked the ball back, so it is play on, or is it? It's a knock on from England scrum feed for the Fijians. 2 minutes now remaining on the clock. I'm trying to remember what my prediction was in the preview that I did. I believe I went with 29-25 in favour of the English, I think was my prediction. I'm going to sneeze one more time, ladies and gents. I will be back very shortly. We are good. And go Fiji go, says Viliami. And Fiji is toast, says Nisi, although they have got the last chance of this game now. 90 seconds remaining. Can it be someone in that Fijian backline like that man there, Sean? Waisia Levu. Semi Radradra out on the wing. They've still got a few other options in that midfield. I'm surprised the score is so high, to be honest. And also we have got there this tighter than tight like a tiger. Another nail biter, bless you. And also you can do this Fiji, says the New Age. And this Rugby World Cup is turning out to be rather entertaining and nail biting, says Gary Smith. So now 90 seconds remaining. Big push from England though. Ball is out the back. Fiji waiting longer to try and get that penalty, but now we'll go back for the scrum reset. 1 minute. In fact, less than 60 seconds now. If Fiji score, they will need the conversion to be able to go through to the semi-finals, which I believe would be further than Fiji have ever got before. But to be able to do that, they would need that converted try, like I mentioned, up against an English side here that have been pushed throughout this 80 minutes. Borthwick's nervous. Could we see a late change or a late score change in this one? Now the scrum feed for the Fijians. They are currently sitting around that 30 metres out from the English line, so still quite far to go. It will feel like an eternity for them to get there. Early push from England. Referee says we'll have another reset. Great commentary. Fiji have already done a great job. You'll praise my sentiment. And there, where'd that go? I heard it here. England with the World Cup, says Justin. And also entertaining like a hen with a bull, says Louis. And respect Fiji, says Nazi Williams. And also with a team with no money, go against England like this. England is bad, says Sonny. And also 30-31 in favour of Fiji, says Maria. And also thanks for the gift, guys. And we have got Fiji, our Warriors superb play. Now 2 seconds remaining on the clock now, ladies and gentlemen. Crowd are loving the atmosphere at the Stade de Marseille. Now another reset. This is the 3rd scrum reset we have had in a row now. And the clock has just ticked over the 80-minute mark. Last chance for Fiji to make their way through to the semi-final. Kuravuli gets the pass away to Waisia Levu, who is tackled low by Danny Kerr. No advantage given as of yet for the Fijians, which means if this ball goes out, which it did, although it did go backwards, they say, so it is play on. Kuravuli, rush defence there from Ben Earl, very close to offside. Now Kuravuli back to Penny Ravai. The English have been defending brilliantly throughout this 80 minutes already. They do not want to let it slide throughout the final moments of this Rugby World Cup quarter final. Kuravuli back across to the left-hand side again this time. It is going to be the big man, Valeve Miramira. Now Kuravuli looking to go to the left-hand side. Quick hands from Lavani Botia, Semi Radradra, pass that wide to Soreli Mangwala, who's done well to take that one. Ollie Lawrence flying across field and steamrolling the winger. Now 35 metres out from the line with Viliami Mata. Fiji sitting 81 minutes through this contest now. Will be Meli Derialangi, a standout player for the Fijian draw throughout the season. Can he create some magic here? Semi Radradra sling and pass. Goes out to Valeve Miramira. England trying to get over the ball, but they have lost their footing, so unable to contest once more. 10 phases in. This is all about discipline for England and handling perfection for the Fijians. Billy Vunapola helping with that tackle alongside Ollie Lawrence on the halfway line, slinging pass out wide now to, it will be the big man, Viliami Mata. He is the one who started the Fijian try scoring. Just 1 try away for the Fijians, although they would still have to convert. Only the 6 points difference. Kuravuli back across again to Meriteri-Alangi. Missed pass for the Fijians, but cleaned up there. Looking for the offload. Deliberately knocked down by Owen Farrell. This will be a penalty. Okay, they're going to check it, but it should be a deliberate knockdown penalty against Owen Farrell there, which will then end up in the scenario of at least a penalty to Fiji in this case. They just want to check to see if it's a deliberate knockdown. Anyone who is new to the channel, I should mention, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. This will be a massive moment. Farrell, he's been playing a majority of this game. I don't believe they have brought George Ford onto the field as of yet. They're going upstairs. Was it deliberately knocked on by Owen Farrell here? Got one hand to it. That is going to be considered deliberate. It will be the penalty. Thanks, Hamish. Great commentary. 5 stars from us. Okay, they're going to check to see whether or not there was cover. This could end up... Wait. This is going to end up maybe being a yellow card to Owen Farrell. I don't see it being awarded as a penalty try. Although if it was, that would mean that Fiji, there's no one on the outside. Although there is cover at the back for Danny Kerr. So I believe this will be probably a yellow card for Owen Farrell. Okay, penalty kick only is what they are going to say. Okay, just going to be the penalty kick against Owen Farrell for the deliberate knockdown, but he is not going to be making his way from the field. Going to remain out there. There is controversy at the moment. The crowd are not too happy. Farrell is hiding. Doesn't want to go over to see the ref just in case they change their mind. Okay, the pass never made it to 20, so it remains as just the penalty. Of course, we're going to blow it, says Rick. And also, this is cover. Oh, there is cover, says Jimbo. And great commentary, lad, says Anthony, are not fair. Should have been a penalty try, although it was inside of the Fijian half, so there was a long way to go for Valeve Miramira, the replacement flanker, to be able to run to get that one as a penalty try. But now 42 minutes. Sorry, I'll try that again. But now 42 meters from the try line. 84 minutes into this game. Thrown in, nicely claimed by the Fijians from the throw of Sam Matavesi. This is do or die now for the Fijians. If they can get it right for a few phases in a row, they could walk away to those semi-finals. But England at the moment, they are in the box seat with the 6-point advantage. Going to be Penny Ravai. He's actually the man who scored the last try. Going to the right-hand side, Sam Matavesi tackled by Maro Itoje. He has put in an absolute shift throughout this game. Luke Tangi now tackled low, already scoring multiple tries throughout this Rugby World Cup. England get the penalty in the breakdown, and that will do it, ladies and gentlemen. England will progress to the semi-final to face either the French or the South Africans. Waisia Naifta-Levu is livid with that decision. They've said that it was number 18, Penny Ravai, off his feet. Or sorry, I think that was actually against Masaki Donge. But that will be the end of the game. England progress by the 6 points. Naifta-Levu. Oh, Owen Farrell didn't take it from the mark, I think, so he actually has to take it again and kick it into touch a second time. And that will now mean that England progress their way to the semi-final. Great commentary, says Caleb Plays. Thank you very much. And Jamie England, says Eric J. They will know that they dodged a bullet there, because at the end of the day, that one could have gone either way. Similar to all of the quarterfinals we have had so far, there have been some absolute thrillers. Man of the match for me has to be Maro Itoje, for what he was able to do in the lineouts, what he was able to do in the breakdown, definitely helping the English towards their victory. What a game. And also Lamani complained, as I play the game now, you lost, says the new age. And it was a great commentary, and also with slaughter. I don't think you slaughtered anyone in that contest. I think that England, if they accept the humble victory there, they will go a lot better in their next contest. But if they feel that that was a slaughtering, then I have to say next week there could be one just around the corner for them. They still have a lot that they want to work on, the English here. And I have a feeling that that discipline is something they'll look at. They'll look at probably in terms of how they can get their ball out the back line a little bit more effectively early on in the game with Tuolangi and March, and it worked well for the English. But they'll want to be able to be a little bit more clinical as the matches go on in this World Cup competition. Can you lads do it again? Thanks. Says Richard. And also, are you going to cast France versus South Africa? We certainly are. We are going to be starting that live stream in only 35 minutes time, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have got there, not impressed with the ref's decision. I'm so disappointed. Well played, Fiji. Thank you, Hamish. A nice job, Hamish. Says Stephen. And there as well, Manaka Vitti. says Davida in there as well. And also well done England, says John Ross, and 7:30. See then Yuda Man says Nazi, or it is 6:30 New Zealand time for the start of that next live stream. And thanks for the commentary, gamers. I'll be viewing the last quarterfinal, says Peter Williams, and congratulations England. Now the biggest game of the quarterfinal, South Africa versus France, says Jonathan. Thank you very much. And Fiji Rob, no yellow on barrel, says Steve O'Neill. Although with where it was on the field, it did determine that it was just going to be the penalty. Although I don't feel that that penalty, or if it was a yellow card per se, I don't believe that would have made the difference in what we saw in the next couple phases, if that makes sense. I feel like it was still, they were far enough out that the English would have been able to possibly shut that one down. I think the ref was fair, says Starboy. It was a tough game to referee, I will say. A lot of work going on in the breakdown from both of these teams. But ladies and gentlemen, we will be back for the next contest between France and South Africa. We are starting that live stream nice and early before. So be sure, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. And I will see you all for the next one.